and watch full throttle, baby, ready to blow. We passing poker up to Jupiter, we got your attention. You can tune in anywhere, but listen at your discretion. To the legend, Mr. Hotman can't stop from each other deuce. My brother got his own hot burger at Tucker Deuce. Now my rush more of these sports, spitting the truth. It's Channing Crowder, greatest Dolphins, who rock the 52. Solana one best of Miami, the voice of FIU. We reppin' to Miami, the Heat and the Panthers too. We reppin' for the Marlins, the Dolphins, that's how we do. We reppin' for the Crips, so it's always about the you. Hey Jimmy, please get a Pell on the phone and tell him that it's on. I finally got his name on the song. Can't do it wrong, cause it sounds so sweet. You spit the facts while I keep the crowd on their feet. Football season be the reason that I be bringing this heat. Georgia music representing 104.3. Hey,
how about that point by Jimmy? We're live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of 104.3 FM WQAM. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana on this Tuesday afternoon. Mark Hochman, Alejandro Solana, they're out of town. So it's Zach Gelb and Channing Crowder here today. We'll take you all the way up until 6 p.m. Ty Dunn from GoLongTD.com had a big article about Jordan Brooks and talking about this new regime with the Miami Dolphins. He'll join us coming up at 2:25. And one of Channing's old pals, Kevin Carter, is going to stop by at 3:25. Chan, how are you?
I'm good, man. Just running around with the kids, Gelb. That's what summer entails when you're a parent, which you aren't yet, because I'm sure you'll make a little Gelb someday. But yeah, all you do is just pour your summers into the babies.
Yeah, Crowder walked into the studio and he was like huffing and puffing and he was like all out of breath. And I'm like, you all right? He goes, I was running around with little Chan today. You'll get it one day. And, we were talking about some maybe little Jimmies as well, running around the studio, down there in Miami, which would be absolutely crazy. But even with how much huffing and puffing you're doing, at least you're not Solana. Did you see what he's doing today?
No, what's he doing?
Well, it's a vacation day for him. And I could tell today is like an actual vacation day for him. Because yesterday, to his credit, he was all in on the show, even though he wasn't on the air. And he was making sure behind the scenes everything was fine because he's basically like a nervous Jewish mother, except he's a male. Like, that's the way that I would say it with Solana. So I guess he took his fiance to the beach today. They were there for 15 minutes, and then it started pouring on the Solana crew.
Oh, yeah. They don't. Solana doesn't like adjustments. He likes a set standard, and he is very much. I've never had a Jewish mother. I don't know about Jewish mothers, but if you say Solana's like a Jewish mother, I can accept it because he panics when anything goes wrong. It's a big panic, Gelb. I don't know why, bro. Let's change direction. Let's pivot and go somewhere else. But Solana can't do it.
Got to learn how to go with the flow a little bit. The Dolphins, by the way, you're going to have to learn to go with the flow this year.
Yes.
Because there probably will be a lot of bad times before they're good times. Now, some people will be saying, Gelb, I've been hearing that about the last 20 years with the Miami Dolphins, but you have a new regime. John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, Malik Willis is the quarterback, and the Dolphins did open up training camp today with veterans joining the rookies, and the veterans are now in the building. And let's start the show today, Channing, with Malik Willis, because that's someone where Cam Wolfe said it yesterday. Sure, he's here on a 3-year deal, over $60 million, 45 guaranteed. And yeah, I think most people look at Malik Willis and go, sure, he's part of that Packers regime that comes over, but there's not a conviction that he's the future franchise quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. And with many people expecting the Dolphins to be bad, you would anticipate that they'll be drafting a quarterback coming up in the draft in April. But Cam said it yesterday when Cam Wolfe joined us, can you even truly evaluate Malik Willis this year? Because you look around the roster, it's slim pickings for him to get the football too.
Yeah, and the receiving core is not great. He has a great running back in Devon Achane, one of the top running backs in the league right now. But what is he doing? If this old line comes around, Gelb, the way that I think it can, and I might be jaded because I just met Caden Proctor and he is a mountain, and I know Patrick Paul's a mountain, and I know Aaron Brewer is an amazing center, and then Austin Jackson stays healthy. Like, they have a line set. But who is he throwing to? Because if you're just going to run the ball, Devon Achane can't have 38 carries in a game. So if you want to throw the ball, what are they going to do? I think the play action, the RPO stuff with Malik Willis and Devon Achane can be good. But what are we really evaluating? But bigger picture, I do like Gilb, and I've talked about this before. I do like that they brought in a guy that, if you look back at Green Bay, Jordan Love was the starting quarterback. Malik Willis was the scout team guy. They know what Malik Willis can do. And once they left, they brought Malik Willis in. He has 6 starts. We don't know what he is. So let's evaluate him on this level and see what he can do. Give Malik Willis a Jamar Chase, a Jetta, a CeeDee Lamb. Like, what could we do? But you can see that when you evaluate him for these 2 years that I think his contract really is.
Yeah, and like you look at the quarterback in New England in Drake May. When the Patriots drafted him, I was like, all right, there's a lot of potential there with Drake May. And in his first half season, even though the team was dreadful, he had nothing around him. The line stunk, but you saw him turning garbage into gold. And that's what you got to kind of ask Malik Willis to do this year, where they're probably going to be at best a 5-win team. And it's probably better that they lose games. But like, I could argue that there is no player in the NFL that is more valuable to his team this year than Devon Achane. And I get it. Like, people are going to hear that. They go, Zach, what are you talking about? You sound nuts. The Dolphins are going to be terrible. I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP of the league, but if Devon Achane can't stay healthy this year, this offense has nothing in terms of the skill position that when you look for Malik Willis to get the football to.
Oh, yeah. And Tutu Atwell, and we make jokes about all the stuff on the show. Like, there is no names that you're going to look at, Gelb, on the Dolphin roster other than Devon Achane and say, he's the guy. So, Devon, go be the guy. But also, Malik has to create that, other guys doing things, and that's the hard part of it. And let's be honest, we know we're $150 million in dead money. We have half the money to pay. Everybody else has $300 million. We have $150 million because we're $150 million dead money. Do the math. And like, we understand what we're dealing with. And I really feel as if John Eric Sullivan, I think you call him John Jingleheimer Smith, whatever
John
it is.
Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt? Yeah.
Yes.
That's my name too.
His name is John Eric Sullivan. And he's trying to figure it out. But I did meet Hafley. I did talk to Hafley. And he has bravado, testosterone, whatever you want to see it. I enjoyed talking to Hafley when I talked to him last week because he's the type coach that is not Mike McDaniel. If anybody wants to know what he is, whatever you hated about Mike McDaniel or loved, you're not going to get that out of Hafley. I'll tell you right now, I talked to him for 10 minutes. You're not going to get that out of Hafley.
So I've said this now in coaching. A dictator doesn't work anymore, but a guy that lets the players run the show also doesn't work. I think you need to be a player's coach that isn't a doormat. McDaniel's flaw was that he was a doormat even though he was a player's coach. Can you see Hafley be a player's coach, but a guy that you know who's boss and he's not a doormat?
He's not a doormat. Exactly what you're saying. And like you said, the proof's in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can say whatever we want right now. We're going to see when this season starts. Hafley is not a doormat. Talking to him, seeing him, just even watching him interact with people, they know that he's in charge. But he's not a Saban. He's not a Belichick. He's not going to just dog cuss you and treat you like a child. But he's not going to get run over either. And that's where I think this is where I think Hafley and Sully are where the NFL is going, where you have to be the man, but you also have to be a coworker. And I think Hafley has that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you look around the league, you see Ben Johnson walks in, acquired Ryan Poles. Everyone thought they would run Ryan Poles out of town, but they got it to work. Vrabel walked into New England. Everyone thought he was going to run Elliott Wolf out of town, got it to work. Harbaugh goes into the Giants. They made it work with Joe Shane. So to have these two guys walk in together holding hands, you at least know that the messaging is going to be consistent. And we're looking for the bare minimums this year. Like, give a football team that wins 4 or 5 games, the wins don't even matter. Just have direction at the end of the year. Say, okay, that was a gritty season with really not a lot to work with. They laid a foundation that maybe next year you could build off of when you actually get a quarterback in there or another. If the quarterback plays well this year, Malik Willis, some players around him so we could really fully evaluate him, because it's going to be tough to evaluate Malik Willis this year.
It's going to be tough to evaluate. evaluate Malik Willis. But I want every team that leaves playing the Dolphins, they have to get treatment on Monday. They need to get ice. They need to go in the steam room. They need to go in the ice tub. The physicality of it, it's really like, and it might be me, Gail. You let me know how you feel about it. I like a physical team.
Yeah.
Because I think that could win over graceful, route trees.
You know what they need to be?
I want a team that whoops ass, and I think Halfley and Sully are trying to build a team just like Detroit did that whoops ass. Think about it. When they brought in Penei Sewell first round, we brought in Caden Proctor first round. They're trying to build the trenches, and I don't care what you want to talk about football. Sooner or later, the bigger, tougher, nastier guys are going to win more games. The Ravens have done it for years, way back to Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and those guys, Gelb. That's the type football I like, and I really believe Halfley is trying to bring that down here.
The year where they were a tank for two, I know they ended up getting to it, but that's because no one saw Joe Burrow coming. That was like a physical, gritty football team that exceeded expectations, even though they were still bad. I know Flores didn't end up working here, but that's like the type of season, maybe you don't want to win that many games because it hurts you in the draft, but just see that kind of play going into the fourth quarter. Then if you lose it in the fourth quarter, it just turns out that this team doesn't have the talent the other teams do in this league. All righty, let's get to headlines.
Do you like that, Gelb? Because Hawks likes the 50 point, just score 50 and see what happens type team. Do you like that? Grind it out, hold them to 20, and let's see what happens type football.
Win the battle in the trenches. How many points you score, whatever. You go win the battle in the trenches and be physical up front. You could go win 8 or 9 games in this league if you win a battle in the trenches. And I don't want to see an offense that is only scoring 17 points and it's like you have the steel curtain and the offense is holding down the fort. Yeah, if it wins a Super Bowl, you take it either way. But I think you need to find that happy medium of, go score high 20s. But I want a physical, kick-ass football team. There's no doubt about that.
I'm with you, bro.
All righty, let's get to headlines. Are sponsored by Doral Kia in Miami. At a Domino's game, you'll always find your abuelito, and whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Get into some headlines. The Dolphins did meet the media today. This is Jeff Halfley. We'll give you a little feel as he gets ready for his first NFL training camp. There was a lot of questions about his quarterback in Malik Willis. And Jimmy has the audio for us. He's seen a Malik Willis that has improved ever since becoming the Dolphins quarterback.
I saw progress in the last couple OTA practices, and what I saw was his confidence started to go like this. It was, not just the reps with the players, but it was the reps of the same plays over and over again, and just building those cumulative reps that, he started to feel comfortable with more plays than he did when he started. I think the key for Malik will be it is his confidence and it is his chemistry with those wideouts, and we need to figure out exactly who those wideouts are and what the chemistry is going to look like. But I want to see his confidence, and I want him to focus in on that and let me take care of the rest. But I'm excited for him. He worked really hard this summer. He was in Jacksonville a bunch training. He had a bunch of the receivers running routes, running the plays with them, holding workouts out there, which was really cool to see him kind of lead that charge. So we'll see.
And the identity of this offense is clearly Devon Achane, like we're talking about. But you know this, Channing. The quarterback 9 times out of 10 is a leader. And when you have a bunch of names that are really no names on this offense, that leadership has to be the non-negotiable with Malik Willis. And he's going to have to extend plays with his legs this year because there's going to be some sloppiness to start with this offense under Bobby Slowick, who has a lot to prove as well because he was supposed to be the guy in Houston, and we know that didn't go all that well.
Malik has to show out and has to prove that he can be a starting quarterback in this league. I love the pressure. I love the pressure on these young receivers. I love the pressure on Tutu Atwell and all these guys. I love the pressure on Chris Johnson being a corner. I love the pressure on young guys to see if you can overcome. Like, go ball. Gelb, when they drafted me in 2005 in the 3rd round, and I'm the 4th linebacker with Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, and Junior Seau, did you ever think anybody on radio was saying, oh, Channing Crowder's about to do something? No, we'll figure out what this young guy's going to do. That's what Malik, like, nobody believes him. I don't care what you say. Nobody believes him. 6 starts, I think 22 games played in years. But Hafley and Sully evaluated him as the guy that they want to see what he's going to do if I give you 17 starts. If I give Tutu to be the number one, if I give these guys, all these young receivers, Malik Washington and these guys, we're going to give you targets. Go do something with it. And that's what this is about. We know we have the salary cap implications. Everybody knows that we have that stuff. Let's go see what we do when the ball is snapped, when it's kicked off in the first game of the season, and you have to be that guy. A lot of guys don't get this opportunity, to be honest.
By the way, last night we should have listened to Appel and bet the fish. It wasn't looking pretty all throughout, but the Marlins did score 3 in the 9th to defeat the Phillies. That did end a 12-game losing streak. Griffin Conine's RBI single gave the Marlins their first win, Channing, since July 9th. How about that?
I'm friends with his dad.
Jeff Conine, the great
I'm
Jeff
friends
Conine.
with Jeff. Jeff's my dude. And yeah, old Griffin. Old Griffin's playing well. But yeah, we got to just I hope this starts something rolling downhill because we had a great June, terrible July. Now let's see what August brings us.
There will be a lot in the news about defensive linemen today. I'll hit you with one here. Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a large man at 31 years old, and he's in the final year of his contract. I wonder what it's like negotiating with Vita Vea. That guy is 350 pounds listed, so that means he's probably closer to 370. I would not want to negotiate with him and his agent when he's looking for more money because he'll probably eat you at the negotiation tables, but now he wants out of Tampa Bay.
I wouldn't want to talk to him if he's angry, which he is, but Vita Vea is a monster. You know I'm a Bucs fan. I had my Bucs hat on yesterday. Vita Vea is one of those, I don't want to say Aaron Donald, but
Haloti
he's
Nada.
one of those.
He reminds me of Haloti Nada.
Haloti Nada or a one of those Leonard Williams.
Okay.
Like that type player. Like he changes the game at the defensive tackle position. Everybody around him got paid. Vita hasn't got paid. I don't think he wants to leave the Bucs. I think he's trying to push the narrative of I need a long-term deal because all these other top-notch interior linemen got the deal. But I love Vita Vea, man. If he can, we really don't have the money to get him, do we?
No, but also, why would he want to go to the Dolphins? Like, you're at that stage of your career. I know he's already won. You would probably want to go to a contender if you're getting traded, right?
Yeah, he has. What, he got a championship with Brady?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, it's tough, but I don't think he wants to leave Tampa. I really think he's trying to push his cards in the middle of the table and say, everybody else is getting paid. Why aren't y'all paying me? It's almost a respect thing with Vita.
One more here, because I know you love money. A few weeks ago, it came out that the Big 12, for all their schools, got $20 million total to have Monster as the sponsorship on the jersey patch. They have to divide $20 million. Today, Ohio State alone, just for a sponsorship with Chase, got $17 million. Notre Dame got $20 for SoFi. Just look at the imbalance there in college football. The Big 12 conference, for all their schools, got $20 for a jersey sponsorship patch. Ohio State, with all their athletic department schools, 36 of them, they got $17 million, and Notre Dame got $20. So the Bucs keep on rolling in college athletics.
And the SEC, it would have been $700 million.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait for those deals to come out.
Gilby, I don't think they should encourage kids to drink Monster before games.
I don't know if you have to be drinking it.
I don't like that endorsement. It might be my old man coming out, but I'm drinking a Monster and my heart was beating through my chest and I'm sitting at Piccadilly.
Yeah, when I used to do overnight radio when I first got started, I had a Monster energy drink, one sip. I felt as if I was just drunk. I did not like it, if I'm just being fully transparent. But if they want to sponsor us here, Channing and I will take the money and tell you how much we love it.
Oh yeah, I'll drink it all show if I get a check. Gil.
We will pivot. There is no doubt about it to Monster Energy. By the way, we got to get to a weather report. It's brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Beat the storm. Schedule your free roof and window estimate today. Call 954-968-8155. It is raining in South Florida. Supposed to rain until about 6 p.m. today. The high is 90, the low is 77. Ty Dunn from Go Long TD is going to join us on the other side. He had a really good article about Jordan Brooks and this new chapter of Miami Dolphins football. He'll join us on the other side. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelb and Crowder here on a Tuesday afternoon.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana show.
I don't want to be bathed, but if I have to
Right.
be bathed, I need those Hawkman hands.
Go
All righty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb, Shannon Crowder here with you on a Tuesday. Dolphins veterans did report to training camp today. And make sure you go check out golongtd.com and read Ty Dunn's piece on the Dolphins. The deep dive is called Jordan Brooks is the captain now. It looks back at the previous season and discusses the leadership role Jordan Brooks will take on for this upcoming season. Ty Dunn joins us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Ty Dunn, how are you?
Zach, what's up, man? How you been?
Well, I've been fantastic. Appreciate you joining us. So this article about Jordan Brooks, and right, there's a lot of Dolphins players that elected to leave the organization this year. We're told to go with John Eric Sullivan coming on in. In addition to that, a new head football coach in Jeff Hafley. Why do you think, in your opinion, Jordan Brooks wanted to stay and be a part of this group when so many people are leaving the ship?
Fantastic question, because I was wondering the same exact thing, right? Like the team that he played for hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. He was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. He was getting that phone call from John Schneider. He was with all of these guys. They were his friends. So, I mean, it's like Will Smith at the end of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's looking around the room. Everybody's getting traded. Everybody's getting released. The Miami Dolphins are 60% of their salary cap this year is allotted to players who will not play a down. And, yeah, I think the natural instinct for any professional athlete, you know, who's 29, 30, in their prime, just led the NFL in tackles, they want to hoist that trophy. They want to get paid. They want to go to a winning team. And I think that probably, I don't know what the percentage would be, 95% of guys would figure out an escape plan if they're in Jordan Brooks' shoes. He didn't, because he was one of the sane professionals last year on that team, looking around, the last 2 years, I should say, and saying, hey, well, where are the leaders? Where are the captains? Why aren't the captains acting like captains? I'm not going to stand for this. He spoke up. He had a career year and really wants to be part of the solution. So, yeah, if you're talking to him, you can see why John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, they want Jordan Brooks central to everything they're trying to build down there in South Florida.
And Ty, Jordan Brooks, you know, I'm attached to the linebacker position very heavily, and he's a monster. He can play ball. But what does he bring? Like, is it more than just tackles? Because he makes a bunch of tackles. He's a Pro Bowl linebacker. But he might look at it, just to answer your question, like you're saying, is he looking at it as I can be that difference? Is he that type of guy that thinks he can be the difference in a rebuild where he can be the captain? Because for them to give him the money, for them to do what they just did, make him that guy, is he built like that?
100%, man. Like, and you know better than anybody, it's a human game. And I think that gets lost in the way that the NFL is covered today, where there are just so many self-anointed film experts, and we're talking about X's and O's, and, you know, we're plugging players into fantasy lineups and gambling on this and that. You know, it is so much more than 60 minutes on a Sunday. It is showing up on time for meetings, sticking around those meetings, right? Not just ducking out to get treatment and, you know, get the treatment on your own time. It's not showing up for walkthroughs with your cell phone in your pocket like a lot of Dolphin players did the last couple of years. They need somebody to set a tone to fix the culture. It is so much more than just, you know, designing the coolest play, which, hell, the Miami Dolphins did that better than anybody. They had the talent. They had the ability on paper to compete for Super Bowls. But I think the last half decade of Miami Dolphins football tells you football is so much more than that. It's everything going on those other 6 days of the week. And they just haven't had that, right? There was a Dolphins player I was talking to who really shed a lot of light on everything that went wrong in Mike McDaniel's tenure. And it was just the fact that there's a true psychology to football that kind of gets lost. Like, you have to genuinely want to fight for the guy next to you. And they haven't had that. I mean, they'd have dinners set up for, you know, positions, 10 to 15 guys, and 4 players would show up. Nobody's hanging out. Nobody's dining together. You don't want to fight for the guy next to you with that kind of culture. So I think Jordan Brooks understands that. I think the Dolphins know that he's the one that can change everything. So you pay that player. You pay an Aaron Brewer. You keep a few of those guys around to turn this thing around.
Ty Dunn here with us, and Channing was even saying it yesterday. You could bring whatever coach or GM in there. Ultimately, the players are going to be the ones that are going to create that atmosphere and that synergy. But with this new regime coming in, since you have a national perspective, and make sure you go check out Ty's article on Jordan Brooks at golongtd.com, what is the national feel of this partnership of John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley coming on in? Because in Miami, like, we get it. This team on paper is not that good. Not much is expected, but it's year one of another rebuild. How do you think of this partnership of Hafley and John Eric Sullivan have positioned themselves from what you're hearing?
Man, and I love how Jordan Brooks put it. He's like, I get it. Everybody's looking at us, looking at this team, thinking 0-17, thinking rebuild. And look, we've tried the veteran route. We've tried the talent route. It didn't work. So let's do something different. And he pointed to those 2023 Green Bay Packers. And we cover the Packers pretty closely at Go Along too. So really familiar with Eric Sullivan and Hafley and everything that they've kind of been a part of building there. That team, Jordan Love, year one, was the youngest team in football. Nobody expected much. The season started really badly. I remember Brian Gutekunst's press conference midway through, and it was, is Jordan Love really going to be the guy here? They turn it on, and they're really one drive away from reaching the NFC Championship game. I don't know. That seems a little far-fetched that Miami would be in an AFC Championship game or that close to it. But Jordan Brooks said, hey, why not us? We could surprise some people. And I think it does boil down to just building it right, accumulating as many draft picks as they did to seek your kind of player, your kind of leader. Like, you can't just go to the pharmacy and buy leadership pills, toughness pills. You've got to, it has to be inside of you. And I think that Jeff Hafley really gets that. Like, that's the allure of him. Yes, he has a scheme. It's creative. It works. I mean, they were losing so many guys last year and still making plays on defense. But more than anything, they need a tone setter, a culture setter. And I think that's Jeff Hafley, especially after Mike McDaniel, brilliant, one of the best offensive minds in football. But he lacked all that other stuff that you really need if you're going to build a winner. I don't know what the expectation is. If they're competitive, right? If they're just sticking around some of these games against the Bills, the Patriots, I don't know if you win 6-7 games, whatever it looks like. I think that they could be in a place where by 2027, you're looking to make a leap. And I tell you, Malik Willis, I get it, 1.5 games. It seems silly to outsiders that you'd pay a quarterback off of that. But remember, they saw him every day. They know how he works. They know where he comes from. A stark difference than the quarterback he replaces, who was kind of shielded. I mean, the closer you look at Tua's rise. Malik Willis, nothing's been handed to him. He's been counted out repeatedly. And Jeff Hafley had to face him every day at practice. I think that, quarterback at that position, that's a leader, a captain, somebody that can set a tone as well.
And is Hafley built because Ty, I think football swinging back to what I love about football, where McDonald in Seattle, Dan Campbell in Detroit, Nick Sirianni in Philly. Like, is that the way football's going? Because I talked to Hafley last week. I talked to the rookies on Thursday, and Hafley came down and we had a conversation where it's about, like, the hell with this track meet stuff. Let's get back to whooping ass in the trenches. Is that where football's going again? And those teams that are going to do it, Mike Vrabel and the Patriots, they're doing it. Is that where football's going now? Are we going back to the football that I love?
Oh, my God, I hope so. I'm right there with you, man. Growing up on this sport in the 90s, the glory days, like, I can still picture, like, Greg Lloyd snarling in that 3-4 Steelers defense, and he might just take out Brett Favre in a preseason game. It was a different time. In a weird way, I think we're kind of getting back to that. Like, there isn't headhunting. I mean, there is a line that shouldn't be crossed. We know that. But for all the rules and all the nonsense and every offseason, the NFL tries to do this, do that, and sell an unsafe game as safe because they got to win over mom and convince little Johnny to play football. I get all of that stuff. What do we see at the end of every season? We see the Philadelphia Eagles just obliterating the best player of all time this side of Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes didn't cross midfield until they were down 34-0. All right. And then the next year, Seattle, the dark side defense, they make Drake May, second in the MVP voting, look like a UFL player. It was ugly because defense and toughness and physicality at the end of the year, that's the stuff that rises to the top. So I feel like the essence of football is still true, and it kind of warms the heart because you get concerned during the regular season when all the flags are flying and the roughing the passer and we all lose our minds, and then you kind of move on to the next week. And then they get to the playoffs and the refs, they kind of swallow their whistles. They let everybody play football. I think if you have a coach that understands that, a coaching staff that understands that, you're at the advantage, and you just know that football is won on the field as a human game, not necessarily schematics. You can't be a bunch of Neanderthals and go out there and run the wishbone or anything like that. I get it, but I thought Aaron Brewer put it really well. We sat down for a story too, and he's dissecting the mental side of his position at center and picking up on tells, this and that. And the way he put it is, once you know what in the hell you got to do, then the violence takes over. I mean, if you know where you're going, then you just displace another human being against their will. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a beautiful thing.
Ty Dunn here with us. And Ty, we were talking about this in the open. Devon Achane isn't going to win the MVP this year, but I don't know if there's a more valuable player to his team than Devon Achane, because outside of that, for Malik Willis, they're really bare bones on this Dolphins offense.
Yeah. You look at the roster, you look at the depth chart, and you're wondering, okay, like who scares you if you're an opposing defensive coordinator? Clearly, they're going to have to keep stockpiling talent, and they'll probably have some high picks, and they'll eventually have some cap flexibility, all of that. But you know what? That's a really good place to start. If you've got a Malik Willis who's got speed and can throw the ball, work in that RPO game with the Devon Achane. I mean, it's hard enough to be a linebacker in today's football and figure out what's going on in the backfield. And when both are a threat to go from 0 to 60, in a snap of a finger, that I feel like that can be something to build on if you're Miami. And again, you guys have touched on it. Like, they've tried the other thing. Like, they've tried, blowing teams out in September and scoring 70 points on Denver. And it looks like they're inventing plays on the fly. I remember going down there to write about 2 a time. It's a long season, man. It's 17 games. You get into November, you get into December. It's a different type of football. There's real attrition to this sport. I think if you're a Dolphins fan, this is a welcomed change, right? Like, you have to take a step back before you take a bigger step forward.
The other thing that I want to throw your way, because we look at this team and everyone talks about Malik. Everyone talks about the new regime with the coach and the general manager. They'll talk about Jordan Brooks. You get to Proctor, who they just drafted, Devon Achane. But Bobby Slowick, he used to be a hot name in this league. And then the Texans happened and the stock kind of, went down the tubes. Now he's this team's offensive coordinator, and that was a huge hire for Halfley. What do you kind of expect out of Slowick in this redemption tour? Because that's a story that I think kind of flows under the radar a little bit nationally.
Man, Zach, I'm really glad you brought up Bobby Slowick. I'm there with you 100%. I remember sitting down with C.J. Stroud's rookie year in Houston for a story, right? The getting's good. Stroud's lighting it up, for one of the best rookie seasons we've seen at the position. And I think, as time passes, you really see what Bobby Slowick meant to him and that offense. And I don't necessarily think that it wasn't like they were butting heads day in and day out, but I remember asking Bobby, like, who did you prefer at number one? You remember, it was Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. He was very diplomatic. He said, that answer is tucked away in my desk for nobody to see. Well, if it was Stroud, I feel like it's a pretty easy answer. So you can only coach who you're given, and I feel like he squeezed out as much as he could, in a young quarterback who was probably more of a project than people think. It was really, really good. And then it wasn't good the second year, and he takes the blame for it. Well, since then, more coaches have been fired out there. They're going through more offensive linemen. We see this throughout the NFL. If a quarterback's drafted high, everybody else has to fall on the sword until eventually you make the move at quarterback. We'll see what happens with C.J. Stroud. I mean, there's nobody facing more pressure than him this year with that defense. And they should have been in the Super Bowl with that defense. So he better perform or he'll be out of there. I feel like Bobby Slowick just kind of caught the shrapnel of everything, and he's a damn good coach who's now down there in Miami with that staff, working with Malik Willis. Yeah, I think you'll hear about his name kind of circling for head coaching jobs in due time.
And Ty, talking about like the guys that have to prove themselves with Kenneth Grant, first round pick last year. My thing is Chop Robinson. Like, can he get? And I always preface this question by saying I'm not saying he's Micah Parsons, but can this coaching staff make him somewhat of a type guy, play off the ball, run around? Because Chop was a first-round pick. Chop was supposed to be that dude, and I have not seen that. And now going on 3 years, I haven't seen it. Do you think they can maximize Chop?
I think so. I mean, Jeff Hafley, his defensive acumen is really sharp. He's a smart guy himself, but I just think he kind of brings the game back to the fundamental level. And it's at the end of the day, if you're a coach, you're a teacher. He's got a hell of a staff. You talk to guys who have been around Jeff Hafley, they glow. They just cannot say enough good things about him as a teacher. And that's got to mean something, right? Like, that Chop Robinson has talent, and it's clear he was drafted in the first round for a reason. Sometimes it just takes a different staff, a different voice, and some better technique to maximize whatever's inside of you. So I think he's got a shot. I mean, the guy that I can't wait to see, when I sat down with Jordan Brooks, he brings up Jacob Rodriguez. He's another Texas Tech linebacker, and you would think a veteran sitting there, seeing somebody drafted at his position, secretly is pissed off, worried about their job, their future. They're going to replace me. And he went out of his way to say, this kid is going to be a superstar. He told me it was like he got drafted all over again. When they took Jacob Robinson, that he was just euphoric all of last season. His teammates got sick of him for as much as he was talking about Jacob Rodriguez, called it the best season for a linebacker in college football history. He thinks that this kid, year one, day one, is going to be a star. So there's something to build with on defense. A couple former Texas Tech linebackers working in unison, and they have a lot of guys in there that they drafted that they've got their hands on. I think a new regime probably will want to get those players on the field as much as possible.
Ty, because like I said, last Thursday I did the rookie symposium for him, and I talked to him for 45, whatever, 50 minutes, talking about girls and money and everything else, just trying to tell him what the league is. And Jacob Rodriguez came up to me afterwards, because I have a whole thing about how Zach Thomas taught me how to work. And he was like, bro, I love you. I love Zach. I'm going to make y'all proud of what I do here. And if people think that Jacob Rodriguez is a small human being, he is not. He's all of 6'3". His neck is as big as his damn head. He is about to go out here and bust some skulls. And I'm so excited about him being there. And with that linebacking core, like, don't they have to get Jacob in? Ty and, the other linebackers, they could play. Jacob has to play, right?
I would think so, right? It can be complicated. You've got to handle a lot mentally. Thinking back to like a Jack Campbell in Detroit who just got paid. It took him a little time. I think he was learning from Alex Anzalone, so there'll be a learning curve to some extent. But at the end of the day, man, that's who the Miami Dolphins are looking for. Players who genuinely love football. I mean, it's not corny, cliche, Disney, remember the Titans. It's real. There are guys in the NFL who are in the NFL because it's a solid 9 to 5. They get a lot of money. They can do well for their families, and that's it. And I think the Dolphins, they have just been kind of polluted with that kind of player for too long, where you need guys who eat, sleep, breathe this stuff. And that's Rodriguez. That's Jordan Brooks. I mean, my God, he's a kid growing up. He's watching NFL films from the 60s and 70s with John Facenda narrating and NFL films music. I mean, he kind of worked from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s in chronological order. He didn't have cable, so he's not even really watching modern football that much. And I think that's what kind of drove him mad, is when he's seeing guys coasting and quiet quitting or just outright quitting on the team. You need guys who are going to wake up in the morning and cannot wait to go to work. And there are teams full of those players, and then there's teams not full of those players who, by December it's time to check out and plan those vacations.
Make sure you go check out golongtd.com and read Ty Dunn's piece on the Miami Dolphins. The deep dive is called Jordan Brooks is the Captain Now. It looks back at the previous season and discusses the leadership role Jordan Brooks will take on for this upcoming season. Ty Dunn joins us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, toyotaofhollywood.com. Ty, appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, fellas. Great time.
You got it. There he is. Ty Dunn, Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelbin for Hawk. On this Tuesday, we're back after this.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana Show.
I think I am the world's biggest Erling Haaland fan. He's got a head of hair that I would give Clayton McCullough's left leg for.
Zach Gelb, Channing Crowder here with you. And it is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Good stuff with Ty Dunn, doing a little deep dive on this Miami Dolphins team with training camp opening up around the league. Dolphins vets did report today, and you did have one Jeff Hafley address reporters. Will play you some sound all throughout the show. Actually, Jimmy, do this for me right now, because you got Caden Proctor, who's the big offensive lineman out of Alabama, who's my favorite offensive lineman going into this draft class. The Dolphins were able to snag him in the first round. They got the cornerback from San Diego State on the back end of the first round as well. But this is Jeff Hafley talking about the decision to play Caden Proctor, who played left tackle last season and also ran the football, caught the football in Kalen DeBoer's offense. He is an athletic guy, even though he's a big fella. Here was Jeff Hafley on the decision to play Caden Proctor this year at left guard.
No, he's going to start off at left guard and try to get good at one position. I think that's fair to him, and it's the best thing. Ultimately, we need to do what's best for our team. In this case, I think it's best for him, and I think it's best for our team. So that's what we decided to start, and we'll go from there.
What do you make of that decision, Channing, to play him at left guard from the jump? Because I know it's so tough to put a kid out there at left tackle to start his career, and I know he's versatile. He could play tackle, he could play guard, but you draft a guy that early, you would have anticipated him being at one of the tackle spots.
Oh, no, 100%. And I think that they're trying to, which Patrick Paul did a great job. Patrick Paul, when he was out there, he did a great job. And I don't know, did you say it, Gelby, or did Ty say it, where I just want to get my best players on the field?
Yeah.
I think Ty said that. I think that's the best approach. Like, Patrick Paul was playing well at left tackle. It's the same feet work. Learn the tackle position. Learn how to play with a veteran tackle in the NFL as guard. I 100,000% expect Caden Proctor to be the left tackle sooner or later. But put him at the left side. Let him work with Patrick Paul. And I don't know, Gelb, you're a big dude, but Patrick Paul is a huge, huge human being. Caden Proctor is a huge human being. Aaron Brewer is not that big. He's very crafty. He's a great center. That's why they gave him the money. He's a culture guy, and he can play ball. And then Savi Naya and Austin Jackson. Actually, Austin Jackson can play at the right tackle if he's healthy. Let's get our best players on the field, and that's what I think they're doing. And I think Hafley is doing a great job by putting him at left guard. Why Patrick Paul develops, he develops. But in the next 2 or 3 years, Proctor will be the left tackle if he continues to grow and progress. But, man, I met him last week. My son, he's the only person that he pointed out to me and asked me who that was, Daddy. Because when you meet Proctor, you're going to say, my goodness gracious, that human ate different than I did when I was 3 years old.
By the way, I should play a drinking game during this show, because I've heard a lot yesterday, I heard a lot today. Every time you talk about speaking to the Dolphins last week, if I did a shot, I'd be on the floor. I'd be like Sid Rosenberg when you guys used to go out to Super Bowls. Jeez, how many times are you going to reference this?
I'm just telling you because I have to reference it, Gil, because it's not like I'm just speaking from a nebulous place. I'm speaking from being in the building and talking to these people, Gil, and being around them and interacting with them. And it's an honor that they do respect me enough to let me come back, Gil.
No,
but
cool.
I do, and I've seen the difference, I would say, and not to badmouth anybody, Gil, but I've seen the difference this year when I did go over there last week from the McDaniel era. It's a different type of vibe there. It's a different type of human being that they're trying to bring in. And I love it. But it's the alpha male, whoop ass, testosterone filled environment that I think, and I brought it up with Ty Dunn, I think that that's what NFL is going back to. The hell with this track meet stuff. Let's start choking people to death and see if they enjoy to do that for 4 quarters.
Jimmy with no stones, by the way.
It's 305. Dale. God bless.
Dale.
Thank you, Jimmy.
You're welcome.
See, I respect Jimmy there, and that's the 305 alarm sponsored by Miami Lake Chevrolet, where you walk in as a customer and drive out as a family. But I also
but Gelby, we have KC coming on next hour, right?
No, we're coming up in 15 minutes.
So he's coming up. I want to ask him about this because him and Bonnie Holiday and Keith Traylor and Junior Seau, bro, we didn't enjoy the company of our visiting team. We wanted to kill them. Yeah. And they knew it. And I don't think the NFL is like that anymore, but I brought it up. I think the Detroit Lions, I think I know Sean McVay teaches it. I know Kevin O'Connell teaches it. I know who just left the head coach that left the Falcons? Maurice.
Raheem Morris.
Raheem, like, I think that's the new cheat code. If you can physically dominate another 53 grown men, that's where I think the NFL is going back to. And like I told Ty, I love it.
Yeah, I was just teasing, by the way, with you speaking to the team and all that stuff. But you go on this great rant, which I'm sure we'll grab for social media and use you for clicks, talking about how you didn't love the last regime and this regime's making you feel like you're at home. But Jimmy's sitting there, and I know it hit 305. And if I'm speaking, if Hoch's speaking, if Solana's speaking, he's firing off on that sounder. So in one respect, I do respect it because you were going off and it was good stuff. But on the other thing, it's like Jimmy's afraid to press the sounder on time there.
Well, I only do it to Solana though. That's the thing.
Jimmy, hit the button.
Hey, but what you were saying was good. I didn't want to interrupt.
Man, this is 305 alarm is sponsored, baby. You know, I enjoy money now. If anything sponsored, yeah, hit the button, Jimmy. I like to get this money.
I saw it was 3:05 and 30 seconds. Jimmy's looking at that clock of his. He's getting ready to do the point. Like, shut up, Crowder. I got a point. I got to get you in there. I got to get the 3:05 in there. Our Vanna White of 104.3 FM WQAM, Jimmy yesterday with that point, with those pointing skills.
Yeah, Jimmy. That check gonna hit 12:01 tonight. I need that check.
Me too.
Oh, what, from the company? It's not payday here.
No, it's not.
No, Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a pay week. I do pay weeks. I do pay weeks, Gail. I know when the money's coming in.
Oh, so last week you didn't really care. That's why you weren't here. Just this week it's a pay week. So
yeah. Last week, I had to just figure it out.
All right, let's get to headlines. They're sponsored by Doral Kia in Miami at Domino's game. You'll always find your Abuelito, and whenever you want a lower price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. A lot going on. Obviously, the Dolphins open up training camp today. Veterans did report they did join the rookies. Crowder, I know we played some of the Caden Proctor sound. You kind of touched on it with Ty Dunn. On this defense, there's 3 youngsters this year that I'm curious what we're going to see. One is a second-year player, one is a third-year player, and the other is a rookie. Kenneth Grant, Chop Robinson, and Chris Johnson. I can't wait to see how we're talking about those 3 guys at the end of the year. And the most pressure is on Chop. Chop got to show that he could be the player they drafted him from a few years ago.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, I think, has the most leash, if that's the thing. I don't like our corners. What are we going to do at DB? And so that's what we're dealing with. Like, you know, Jones from last year and those guys like Duck, what's his name? Duck
Storm Duck.
Storm Duck. Like
quack, quack.
We get involved with guys and we get attached to guys, but I think our cornerback room is light right now, and other teams will know that. I think there's a lot of pressure to your point, Gail. Chop Robinson was taken in the first round. And, like, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a Micah Parsons? And that's what I was thinking. Hafley has had a small defensive end. Can you figure out a way to make Chop Robinson a threat to other teams? Can you move him around like a Micah Parsons? He can't set an edge. He's not big enough. And Kenneth Grant, he was getting thrown around a lot. He started playing well. Can he get with Sealer? Can he get with this new coaching staff and learn how to use his body and drop his hip and just use up space? Like, you're not going to make every play in the NFL. And I think that's with D tackles. It's tough. With a guy like Chop Robinson, I think you got to use him right. So Chris Johnson, you got to go out there and lock down some of the best receivers in the world. That's hard. I was there with Vontae Davis. I was there with Sean Smith. But I also was there with with Pat Surtain and Sam Madison,
Yeah.
where I've seen a lockdown corner. I see how lockdown corners do. Can Chris Johnson be that guy? Like, that's a big ask of a rookie, but I think the most pressure is on Chop Robinson, because now you have to prove that you need a second deal. You can be a force in this league, and I'll tell you, in my mind, and I go to every Dolphin game, I watch every away game, Chop Robinson has not been a asset on this team. He's been a liability.
And that's the thing for me with Hafley. Like, everyone tries to define how you look at success in year one. I don't care about the wins this year. Malik Willis, I think it's a long shot. This guy's forte is supposed to be the defensive side of the ball. So you look at a guy like Chop Robinson, he's going into year number 3. He's got to have his best season under Jeff Hafley. Kenneth Grant, who I loved coming out of Michigan, and I thought he was a great pick by the Dolphins. We got to see that dude produce this year, and he should be able to under Jeff Hafley. And then Chris Johnson, like, we've seen corners come into this league. Pat Surtain. We've seen Christian Gonzalez. We've seen Sauce Gardner. Derek Stingley make an immediate impact. So it's not this foreign territory for corners that are picked in the first round to come in and contribute right away. There's going to be some good days. There's going to be some bad days, like all rookies. But that, for me, with these younger players that they've invested premium capital on, Hafley's got to figure out from now until the end of the year who they're going to keep and who they're going to get rid of a year from now.
And Gail, for you to put these Stingley is a all pro.
Yeah.
Sauce is an all pro. Chris Johnson, to get to that level, that would be an amazing thing to get to. I honestly would love it.
Look how young they are, though. They're all a few years into this league. Like, Christian Gonzalez's third year. Surtain won a defensive player not that 2 years ago. Like, these guys came into the league, and within 4 or 5 years, you're looking at them, and look how accomplished they are.
And that's what it is. If you're talking about Kenneth Grant, can Kenneth Grant go be Jalen Carter, who just, what is Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter just signed
$160 million up to.
Come on,
38.5 million a year.
And he's worth every penny if you've watched the Eagles games.
Yeah, as long as he's not doing the Dak Tua to start off the season, and also if he's just being okay off the field. He's a phenomenal football player.
Sometimes you got to spit on somebody, Coach. Sometimes you got to get him.
I was at that game for Compass Media Networks. Really? You know, I do some of the Cowboys pre-half and post and some other national NFL games. And I was at that game. What a bizarre start to the football season. You got a grown man spit on another grown man. And then there was a lightning delay. And I'm sitting around there and I'm like, oh my God, a lightning delay? I'm not going to get home till 3:34 in the morning. Bizarre start to the season last year.
But that to even, and I can't with my heart say that Kenneth Grant can be Jalen Carter, because I watched Jalen Carter at Georgia. He's a monster. But to get to the level of respect that he has to play every snap. Chop Robinson has to play every snap. You can't be even Micah Parsons. I bring up because he was in Green Bay and Hafley worked with him. Like Micah Parsons, he did his rush thing, but they didn't bring Micah off the field first and second down. Micah could set an edge. Micah could contribute to the defense if he wasn't just rushing. And that's what I think Chop has to do for this defense. He cannot come off the field. You're a first-round pick. You're well paid. You're supposed to be a mainstay in this defense. Chop has to get to a level of him being a 3-down linebacker or defensive end at some point in this defense for it to be worth it. And Kenneth Grant as well. Kenneth Grant can't just be a run stopper. Kenneth Grant got to get to the quarterback and also be able to set. It's not an edge. We'll have Kevin Carter on coming up where you can set an edge from inside. If you're a dog defensive tackle, you can whoop that guard's ass. Well, they'll never run your way again. I played behind KC. Good DTs can stop the ball from coming that way from the inside. And I think that's what a first-round defensive tackle has to do, like an Aaron Donald, like a Leonard Williams, like those top tackles in the league. Kenneth Grant should be able to get there to be worth his first-round grade.
The Dolphins also signed Cleveland Ferrell. Last year, he was on the 49ers and Chargers. You may remember him when Mike Mayock was a general manager out of Clemson and decided to use him with the 4th overall pick with the Raiders. He's been a bust in this league. But what were you saying about Cleveland Ferrell? Like, you made Jimmy go search for some audio today about something Solana said. Were you just messing with Jimmy? Because Jimmy had no clue what you were talking about.
Jimmy said Cleveland. Solana was talking about Cleveland. And he just kept yelling Cleveland on something. Look it up, Jimmy. Cleveland Farrell.
You think it's in the system?
It might be in the system.
Okay. I think you may need some Prevagen, honestly. I don't know if your memory's in the right spot.
There's no way they signed Cleveland Farrell if Chop Robinson is doing what they thought he would do.
Or they just need another body.
They're trying to find another pass rusher. They're trying to find somebody else to get to quarterback. Who else do you know? Because they got rid of the little cute white boy that went to Minnesota.
Oh, Van Ginkel?
Van Ginkel. They lost their pass rushers, and Chop was supposed to be that replacement pass rusher.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell is 742 years old. He's mummified, and he was one of our best pass rushers a couple years ago. We need somebody to get to the quarterback, and right now, as we sit here, who's going to get to the quarterback? Because we just talked about Chris Johnson, Gil. We're going to have trouble covering people for a long time. So we need to get the quarterback to get rid of the ball fast. Who is that guy? Chop Robinson was supposed to be that guy, and he has not proven he can be that guy.
The Marlins scored 3 in the ninth to end a 12-game losing streak. They defeated the Phillies last evening. Griffin Conine RBI single gave the Marlins their first win since July 9th. And I don't know if you saw this last week, but we'll carry it into this week. Some photos emerged on social media, on Instagram. Aaron Rodgers celebrated his induction into his high school Hall of Fame with his parents in April. In a photo obtained by People, the NFL star smiled alongside his parents, Ed and Darla Rodgers. And earlier this week, the Steelers quarterback, who's gearing up for his final season in the NFL, shared more recent photos of his family bonding time, is the way that he said it. So Aaron Rodgers is going back to his neighborhood, Mr. Rodgers' neighborhood, and is actually talking to his family, which I think is good to reconcile after all these years.
Man, that's nice. Me and Big Randy ain't talked for like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. When I was coming out of high school, I was at Florida, and we got into it because I thought I was a grown man and I was cussing. He told me not to cuss. We went back and forth, and I actually went back to Gainesville, and we didn't talk for like 2.5 years. And then once I got in the league, I've told the story before, Gil. Once I got in the league, Nat Moore, who coincidentally, and I don't know people's religious thoughts, but I believe in God. Nat Moore was with the Dolphins, and he played with my dad. And Nat came up to me after practice and said, "Hey, we have an alumni weekend. I called your dad. He's coming, and y'all two MFers are going to talk." Is exactly what he put it. And I was like, okay, Nat, because I respect Nat. And me and my dad talked, and then we had the best relationship for the next 20 years. That was my man.
And it's good. And as you know, unfortunately, you never know when it's someone's time. And if you never reconciled, that would have been a big regret. So I know a lot of people have fun with the Rodgers stuff, and it's like, it's low-hanging fruit, but it is a heartwarming story, whether you like Aaron Rodgers or not, if you think he's the greatest guy in the world or you think he's the biggest a-hole. Whatever happened. It's not for me to judge, but it's nice that you see him getting back together. Not all of his family, but with his parents, and I think like a brother was there. And it is a feel-good story as he gets ready to embark on what is the last year of his career, and you never know what people are like once they give up football, so to have that support system there, I think is something nice.
Yeah. I hope his dad likes those mushrooms.
Oh, yeah, the ayahuasca. Hey, Aaron, we're going to go into a dark cave. We want to know. That's why we're reconciling with you. We want to know the effed up stuff that you do. We want to see what happens when you go on one of those darkness retreats.
I am not ayahuascaing with you because you're a weird dude, man.
What do you mean I'm a weird dude?
For me and you to be in a cave together for a month, I'm not going to do it.
You rather be with Jimmy Solana or Hoch? You have avocado toast. Jimmy would be farting up the joint, and God knows Solana would be sitting there nervous as could be. At least I'd be cool, calm, and collective. I'm the tallest dwarf compared to all these other guys.
Well, if you give me the option, I might choose you. But yeah, Solana seems a little handsy. I don't know. We might have two caves.
This weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Hurricane season is here. Make sure your roof and windows are ready. Call 954-968-8155 for a free estimate. The high is 90 for the temperature today. The low is 77. On and off rain all throughout the day. Some possible thunderstorms as well is the weather in South Florida. We're supposed to be joined by Kevin Carter, one of Channing's old teammates on the other side. And as Josh Appel said yesterday, Miami Dolphins legend Kevin Carter on the other side. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelbin for Hawk on this Tuesday. We're back with more after this.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana Show.
Have you enjoyed today's show from whatever you've heard?
No. Let me see. Let me mute him for a second. Hey, Kevin, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Got no real problems.
Perfect. So,
Perfect.
all righty. We'll, good to see you. We'll get you on in about like a minute, 32 minutes. All right.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thanks, Kev.
No, no worries.
Bye.
1966 custom impact rated garage doors designed
All righty, welcome back in. It's 104.3 FM WQAM. Let's go out to the guest line right now and welcome in a former teammate of one Channing Crowder. It's Zach Gelb, Channing Crowder here with you on a Tuesday, and that, of course, is Kevin Carter, who joins us on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Shop over 2,000 Toyotas on sale at one location, Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan, Toyota of Hollywood.com. Obviously, you could watch Kevin Carter come football season in the fall, CBS with all the great college football stuff, and you know he's a former Miami Dolphin. And Casey, I know you're a good dude, but you're a better man than I thought, that you're willing to come on with us after all the crap that Channing probably put you through.
Well, the thing in my business, you have to read the scouting report. And sometimes the scouting report says that, to have a talented player, you got to put up with them, with some BS. So Channing kind of falls in that category. Your scouting report says there's going to be some BS, but what he gives you, just a tremendous upside. So it's definitely worth it for me to be here.
Casey, man, it's good to see you, Brian. See you in a second, big dog.
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
A little less hair, though.
I didn't have much to begin with, and so as it started to leave me, I just started shaving it. So I'm bald by choice. Choice.
Oh, okay.
I can still do the I can still do the haircut with the with the fill-in and make it look like a fade.
Casey, we've been talking about it today, man. Is football getting back to what it used to be? Because if you see, if you're looking at the teams that are dominating college and NFL, it's getting back to that grab somebody and choke them out, like you and Vonnie and Big Truck and all the guys that brought me in the league were doing. Is football getting back to that?
I think so, because there's a common denominator, right? And I say it every year. I go on this tirade about the middle of October, talking about how you win games when the weather changes outside. And it's not because the ball may be hard to throw or the inclement weather. It's because football hurts, right? So the cumulative effect, of training camp, the off-season training, and all those body blows during the year is really about the will and the commitment of your team, their commitment to one another, and their commitment to physicality. And we see the teams that are strong along the lines of scrimmage, those quarterbacks that can do the Tom Brady thing, where they throw less passes but get more accurate towards the end of the season, and the rushing yards go up and the frequency in which they throw goes down. But, like I said, the completion percentage ideally goes up. Those are the teams that are successful in the playoffs. And it's the same in college football. Like the teams that can weather the storm of, now 9 conference games in college football, in the Power Four. And if you get to that point where you're at the end of the season, the quality of your depth gets tested, and you have to bring that same level of, physicality. We saw it last year in the playoffs with Miami. I knew Miami was going to, make a run deep into the playoffs just because they were so physical. And when all else failed, they played bully ball, and they got after you up front, and they made it difficult for you to do what you do on both sides of the ball. So I definitely think that, despite all the changes to make the game safer and the way you can tackle people, it's coming back to the fact that whoever's willing to push someone around probably is going to get the win.
Now, you be honest with me when you take a look back at Channing, and it's kind of annoying because everyone has something nice to say about Channing. I think there's only one person I know that doesn't like Channing Crowder. Did you like him right away, or was he kind of an acquired taste when that punk ass walked in as a rookie?
You know what? I've always loved Channing. I've always been a fan from afar. Being a fellow Gator, I root for my guys. But the thing about Channing that I love so much is that he was such an eager, young, I want to soak everything up from every older guy that I'm around type guy. And that's when someone's going to be successful in the NFL. Show me a guy that doesn't know the history of the game. Show me a guy that doesn't, pay homage or, look to those older guys just to see if you can take something out of their toolbox and put it in yours that you can make your own. Those are the guys that go on to have those long, successful careers in the NFL. And Channing was one of those people. I mean, I have fond memories of being back in Miami a very difficult situation, right? It was the Nick Saban NFL experiment, and it was hard. It was brutal, and it was, mind games and, the process oriented way of doing things, but it was a great environment, for a young player to learn the way that it should be. And I'd like to say that in training, you can speak to this, being around so many old guys on that defense. I mean, that defense was awesome. I mean, it was a hard 2 years, and we didn't get the results on the field that we wanted, but defensively, man, we were a top 5 defense. Like, we watched our film with pride, and we, went through those walkthroughs and did everything we did. Those were 2 of the hardest yet most rewarding years of my life, because I loved going to work every day. I loved being in that meeting room with, Dan Quinn. He wasn't a D-line coach, right? He was a head coach or coordinator at best. And, to have, Keith Traylor and Bonnie Holiday and Jeff Scanina, to have Jason Taylor and David Bowens and, Donnie Sprague and Zach Thomas and Sam Madison and Junior Seau. I mean, dude, it was so much fun in that room. And it's like I was finally in a room of truly peers, not just other professional athletes, but guys that I had respect for, that had done a lot of things in this league. So, Channing fit right in perfectly because he had the right attitude.
No, KC, you brought up all the names. I brought up Vonnie. I brought up Truck. D Sprague, I still talk to him. I talk to all them dudes till this day, bro. Sam Madison's down here. His son's balling. And just that, we were the top 5 defense.
Yes.
Just saying it between me and you.
Yes.
Look at the stats. We were a top 5 defense. We were holding people under 20 points a game.
Yep.
And we couldn't figure it out. And that was the crazy part of it. And when I stepped in, KC would be in that damn building at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
right?
It.
Junior Seau was in the building at 5:30 a.m. Zach Thomas. So I'm coming in as this little dude out of Florida, little 3rd-round pick. I'm leaving Tootsie's at 4 a.m. and I'm driving straight to the facility because I have to beat y'all there because y'all are there, man. And I think that's what the difference was that. And I always talk about it with Zach because Zach was like, Zach kind of took me under his wing, KC. Mm-hmm. To make it in this league, you have to annoy the old guys. And I really think I annoyed y'all because I used to sit and talk to you and ask you questions. And you'd be like, Chan, man, damn, bro, come on, man. Like, I don't want to answer none of these more questions. I want to go home to my kids and my wife. But I think those young guys are losing that. Yeah. At this point, they're losing that. They're losing the communication. They're losing the veteran influence, and that's what I try to preach to young guys now.
It's kind of by design, and it's kind of an epic, kind of a chronic problem. You have to ask yourself, what's the goal of the NFL? Like, what kind of players are they trying to develop? And there's only a certain number of guys that get to go on and have those long careers. For the most part, they just want to get them in and get them out. They want to cycle them through. They want to keep the game going, and you look at every team, and every team's got, 3 or 4 guys that are in that, 8 to 12 year range, and they have that veteran leadership. But a lot of the other guys, man, the guys don't make it they don't make it to free agency, and they don't make it very long, but that's the gift, I think, of older players mentoring you as a young player. If you take the ticket, if you believe that that's the way that it should work. I think now it's even more of a problem because you got kids making money in college, right? They come out as 5-stars, they make millions, and they get to the NFL and they don't quite have the same goals. And, my goal, obviously everybody wants to make as much money as they can, but man, this was my dream come true. Okay, as a child, like, so I'm sitting there playing on an NFL field. They're stretching out the American flag on the field got to fly over by some jets or some helicopters, and tears are streaming down my face every game I played. That was my dream come true. So if you don't love it like that, if you don't want to learn from old guys, if you don't want to be one of those guys that is in his 30s and still playing, then don't do what Channing did. Don't hang around, don't annoy old guys, and your ass will be out of there in a couple of years, and they'll cycle you right out, and they'll get someone that looks just like you, playing, doing what you're doing.
Casey, do you remember you used to invite me to that little spot on 595 in University after the game, and you used to always go there. We used to play pool, bro. That meant so much to me that you always invited me after games to go over there. I forget the name of the place, but I'm like, I would tell my whole family, I'm like, Kevin Carter invited me here. We're coming over there. I'm gonna go play pool, even though I'm not good at it. But KC invited me here and told me to come here. So to that point, bro, I want to say thank you for that. That was big time.
Awesome. That type of fellowship is what makes teams better, and that's really that's what you miss the most, right? When when we leave the game, man, like we miss the guys, we miss the camaraderie, we miss that fellowship of being together, and that was also a thing. As an older player, I learned early. It's like, if you can control yourself off the field, if you can live a tame life, if you can learn to be normal and be a pro, then man, you can play a long time in this league. And that was a thing I had when I first came into the league. I had guys like Fred Stokes and Sean Gilbert, Robert Young, just old guys, Jimmy Jones, and and their lives, man, their lives were tame outside of football. I go to Sean's house. He'd have a full bar. He'd have a full, in his house, so he wouldn't have to go anywhere. Guys would have putting greens at their house, and man, you got to structure your life in order to set yourself up for that type of success.
I hate to ruin this reunion, Kevin Carter, because it's so nice to hear the two of you reconnect after all these years and hear all these great memories. But imagine if you guys had a damn quarterback. Like, imagine if you had just said ignore the medicals and you signed Drew Brees. You may have another ring on your finger.
Or Dante Culpepper. Yeah.
How do you look back at that one all these years later?
Yeah, so you know the real reason why Nick Saban left.
Yeah, he couldn't figure it out.
That's it. He was frustrated. He was as frustrated as we were about our quarterback acquisition. So, because he didn't have control over it, and that's why he's no longer coaching pro football.
KC, do you think that people ask me about that situation all the time, bro? Like, why couldn't and I'll say it, I think he's the greatest coach of all time, Bear Bryant. Yeah. You can bring up names. In college, why do you think those guys can't transition? Is it salary cap and all that? Because if we got Drew Brees when 06, bro, we were on we were on the front of ESPN. They had Randy McMichael, what was it, Marty Booker, Chris Chambers, Randy McMichael, Ronnie Brown. We were on the front of a magazine. Yeah. But Pep was not Pep anymore. Pep wasn't Minnesota Pep.
No, he lost his mobility, and that record-breaking, record-setting completion percentage that he had was because he was 265 pounds and he couldn't tackle the guy. And he could, buy himself a little time, and he had a cannon for an arm. And so you lose that mobility, then it means you got to process a little more. And, going into it, we kind of speculated that Drew Brees would probably make the transition from being injured, coming back. And because of the type of quarterback he was, Drew always had to process. Drew always had to be a student of the game. He always had to buy himself time. He always had to know, because he was small and he didn't have the strongest arm. So if we had Drew, man, no doubt, I probably would have finished my career in Miami. We'd have been going to the playoffs. It'd have been us in 09. Holding that trophy up. So
it's honestly one of the greatest what ifs in sports history, because Sean Payton and Drew Brees are never a thing in New Orleans. Nick Saban never goes back to college and coach at Alabama. Right. Who knows what would have happened to the Patriots, because that would have been legitimate competition inside the AFC East.
Oh, hell yeah.
It is a crazy what if on how many dominoes did fall because of that decision to not sign Drew.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry to ruin the parade.
Football questions? Well, what's up, Zach? What are we talking? This is a great reunion, but you said you wanted to break things up.
So
what we got?
Well, the Dolphins still don't have a quarterback. I don't really believe in Malik Willis. We got these young quarterbacks coming up out of college. Everyone says it's a loaded draft class, from Darian Mensah here in Miami, Arch Manning, Dante Moore, Drew Mestemaker. I'm curious to see. How about some of these quarterbacks that maybe Dolphins fans should be keeping a keen eye on?
I like Dante Moore. I really do. I think what we were talking about, what it takes to be a successful pro, is you have to have the right attitude towards the game, and you have to have the right attitude regarding the commitment to how you're taught and how you learn the game. That's the thing. When you're in college, your football IQ only grows so much. When you get to the NFL, it becomes your job. You spend, 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day at work, but most of it is in a classroom. And if you can really learn to be a student of the game, that tells me that you're going to have the best chances of being successful. And to me, someone like Dante Moore, who, was the heir apparent at UCLA, chose to transfer because he didn't have the structure around him, but knew he was going into a situation where he would have to sit behind Bo Nix and, taking that evolution, taking that coaching, humbling himself and, waiting till he was ready. To me, Oregon basically is Georgia in the Pacific Northwest, and they are built right. Dan Lanning has done a great job. But Dante Moore, man, look out for Oregon this year. And they have a great team, but I think he's an exceptional young quarterback.
Do you like more so than Arch? Because a lot of mock drafts have Arch now. I know it's so early. They have Arch 1 and Moore 2.
I think game-ready, battle-tested experience will have to go to Dante Moore. Obviously, the upside and just the intangibles, and we have to see what this kid is going to do, right? Because Arch was kind of anointed before he got on the field, and when he got on the field, he really didn't disappoint. But now there's a bullseye on your back. Now they have an expectation. Now their national championship or bust. The stage is set. Their team is stacked. They've got one of the best prolific play callers in college football in Sarkisian. So now we're going to see what he can do. And so the proof with Arch will be in the pudding, but certainly, with the legacy bloodline upside, could be exciting. But right now, my pick is Dante Moore in terms of the best quarterback in college football.
And KC, I love Ruben Bain. I'm a Bucks fan, so I have a Bain jersey. Somebody bought it for me because I was talking about it. Like, I love Ruben Bain.
Yeah, those Dolphins fans love you wearing that Buccaneers gear on the YouTube chat.
I had a Bucks hat on this morning, KC, and they can argue all they want to. Right. But Mensa is that much better than Carson Beck? Because that's what I've been hearing. I have not watched Mensa. I'm going to go off of you. Mensa is that much better than Carson Beck. And I know we lost some, like I was talking about, the edge rushers with Bain. And what was the other guy? Mesidor?
Yeah.
Bro, they were coming off that edge. Bain was my favorite player last year. Yeah. But Mensa is that much better than Carson Beck, where now Cristobal, he has something right now where we can still compete?
I think so. The thing about Carson Beck, there was the thing in the back of your mind. Sometimes in the biggest games they played, he wasn't the best player on the field. And I think, offensive coordinator, the coaches, Cristobal, they did an excellent job of keeping the focus of the offense in a certain perspective where they really looked to control the line of scrimmage, and they minimized the damage that his mistakes or trying to force the ball could really, enact on the team. So I think they kept him out of harm's way, but I think you saw it on the final drive versus Indiana, right? And the game ends that way. And I don't mean to pick on Carson Beck, because I think he's a wonderful young quarterback, but, those things show up, in those crunch moments. Well, when you get to the NFL, they're all crunch moments. Okay. Wins are hard to come by on Sunday. It's the hardest, test that you ever faced. And it's every Sunday. So for that matter, I do look at Mensa and just his body of work and how he operates. He's going to pull it down by himself, use his feet. He's a little bit smarter, a little bit calmer under pressure than Carson Beck is. I think Carson Beck had a golden opportunity because he was at Georgia. I mean, he had a three-headed monster at running back, and he had weapons all around him, and he had a defense that you couldn't score more than 10 points on. So if you can't win a national championship there because you're the weak link, you're the one turning the ball over in key times, then yeah, the dynamic of each team's identity has to be forged each year. And I think, like you said, Shannon, without, Mesidor and, those edge rushers just really putting pressure on the quarterback and limiting what they do on offense, it may not be as attacking as a defense and as stifling as it was, but I think Miami is built right. And I think Darren Mintz is going to bring a whole new element to this offense, making it just a little bit more multiple because of Mintz's ability to use his legs, but also get out of the pocket, buy himself time, but he does a great job of keeping his eyes downfield. So I think there are some big plays amongst, and that's what you want. You want to pull that coverage up into that, into the box. And you want a guy like Mensah who can scramble around, buy himself some time, and hit a streaking receiver. There are some big play opportunities in this offense, and I know they've got to be excited.
Last one for me, Kevin Carter, and this has been great. Obviously, you guys are Gators. The Canes go win a national championship this year. Sumrall, I'm a huge fan of his. I told him before, he reminds me of Dan Lanning when Dan Lanning first got to Oregon. Mm-hmm. He's just a football psycho. Is this the right guy to get the Gators moving back in the right direction?
I think he is. I haven't spent any time with him yet. I'm actually going down in a couple of weeks just to be a fly on the wall and kind of see how things work. He's been, from what I hear, he's been really gracious to former players and kind of opening up the doors and really reestablishing the culture and the rich history that we have. But the first indication that I got that he was going to be the right guy for the job was doing Army Navies, as we do every year for CBS. Is one of my most favorite things to do. But one of the things about that is you never know who you're going to see on the sideline of an Army Navy game. And I'm sitting next to Beanie Wells on set, and Beanie turns around. There's a guy calling his name, and he turns around and lights up like a child. Jumps off the stage and runs. And of course, it's Urban Meyer, who was his coach. Now, Urban didn't coach me, but I have a good relationship with him. So I walked over and, I got this look in my face because there's one question that I'm going to ask him. I'm like, is Sumrall all right for the job? Because I just, not even a day before, him, Danny Werfel, Shane Matthews, everybody coming out the woodwork saying, come on, Gator Nation, we're excited for John Sumrall. Like, they're doing all the PR stuff. And I'm like, is this BS or do you really believe this? Like, and I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. And man, Urban was excited. Like, he was excited. He was like, no bullshit, Casey. Like, I'm telling you, like, he's the right guy at the right time for Florida football. His mentality, how he inspires guys, the fight that this team will have. And, Florida, like, look, the one thing that Napier did is he recruited very well. The cabinet is well stocked with players, but the belief, the energy, the aura, the charisma, or whatever it is that we had, back in those great Florida teams of past, is we knew we were better. We had a mentality, man, that we had worked so hard in the off season that you couldn't match what we were going to bring on Saturday. And I can talk about it. Channing can speak to it. It's like, and because it was the same. Once Coach Spurrier established that culture and then Urban brought it back. I mean, when you're a part of something like that, that's special, you're looking for telltale signs to see if they're back in that way. And from what I hear, he is the guy. A lot of people are going to be surprised this year because, man, just looking at the talent that they have, Jaden Baugh, the one receiver, Dallas, whatever his name is. I mean, my goodness, they have dudes wall to wall. I love Coach Chapman, the defensive line coach. Think that he is an excellent defensive line coach who's doing it the right way, and they have dudes. So I'm really kind of curious as to whose season or whose season Florida's going to throw a monkey wrench in, because it's going to be somebody's going to get got on Saturday.
Casey, I always tell them, like, we're surprised when we lose.
Right.
Back when we played, like, when the game ended and we didn't have the higher point, we would be like, what just happened? We're Florida. And I think that kind of got away in the last, 8 to 10 years where we're chasing people. We're used to being the rabbit. We were never the greyhound. We were always the rabbit. And I think that's what I'm hearing from you, is that Summerall is going to make us the rabbit again, where Georgia's the rabbit now. All the SEC teams, Alabama became the rabbit, where we don't need to chase anybody. We're Florida.
Don't forget the Big Ten. The Big Ten's won the last 3 national championships.
Man,
SEC
hell with the Big Ten.
Hold down, Zach. Hold on, bro.
I just speak facts. Unlike you lying former Dolphins and Gators.
At this time, you may have a couple of top end teams that are better, but pound for pound from top to bottom, the SEC is still the best. Strongest.
Michigan, Ohio
Okay.
State, Indiana. It's about winning
Zach.
championships. You don't play. What is this? The new Florida way? You guys are all like
you wanna-
brainwashed by
Come
Napier.
play
Now it's like, oh,
Arkansas-
finishing 6.
Come play Arkansas or Mississippi State on a Saturday and come in half cocked.
Arkansas.
Okay.
I've seen
Yeah,
Arkansas.
Arkansas will line
Zach,
up. And
I'm
physically
gonna
beat
send
you.
I'm gonna send you a blue and yellow flag because the SEC is where it's at. But KC, when you come to South Florida, man, I got to take you to the shake spot because I was one of the first people to take KC to the shake spot. And
What kinds of shakes we talking about?
and not milkshake.
Not milkshake.
Kevin Carter, we appreciate it. This is great. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
But great to talk to you, KC.
Love you,
There
brother.
he is, the great
Yes,
Kevin
sir.
Carter does a killer job on CBS now talking college football. It's Hoch with Crowder and Solana. Gelb in for Hawk. We're coming on back.
This is Hoch, Crowder, and Solana.
I have a package
Corn
of
dogs.
frozen corn dogs in my freezer right now as we speak.
I'm sorry to hear that.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar.
All righty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb in for Hawk on this Tuesday. Good stuff with Kevin Carter. A little Gator and Miami Dolphins reunion with one Kevin Carter. And almost gave Jimmy a heart attack, by the way, because Casey dropped a BS in there. And Jimmy is just sitting there basically like picking the lint out of his belly button. And the next thing you know, Jimmy has to go jam that dump button to make sure that doesn't get on the air.
You were scared, Jimmy?
A little bit.
Jimmy texted me 30 seconds after it happened. And he goes, did you see I have to dump what he said? I go, yeah, Jimmy. I go, it's the quickest I've ever seen you move. Was that the reflexes were so Jimmy's like sitting back like this. Oh, it's wonderful. Like, let me smoke a blunt or something. Let me get a shot of tequila. And then he said BS, and Jimmy right away, bam, bam. The pointing, the fingering from Jimmy is really something.
I
had a good fingerer.
Remember, I had to work with Tracy McGrady when the dumb bun when he was on the show with us.
Yeah,
was he cursing a lot?
T-Mac was wide open, Gil.
I forgot that this is radio.
Yeah. It's what they do is when you sit down and then you just start messing around with guys you know, and even off air, Gil, like the way we talk is not acceptable for radio.
Oh, what do you mean?
So it happens. Man, it's so crazy to see KC after all these years. First, we played together 2 years. He was like an OG at Florida. He used to come back and do it all. So to talk to KC was real cool.
No, you're welcome. I'm also very annoyed at him, by the way.
Why?
No, because he's big time in us, right? I'm on the set of Army Navy Radio Row as I'm wearing an Army Navy hat, by the way. And Casey's like, oh, Beanie Wells sees Urban and he runs over and then I run over. I was like, hey, you jackass, you ran off the set not to go talk to Urban Meyer. He ran off the set to talk to me. I kid you not, Kevin Carter. He owes me $1. He owes me $1. We made a bet. Patriot Rams Super Bowl. Brady's last one in New England. He said he would give me $1 if the Patriots beat the Rams. And every year he comes up to me at Army Navy and says hello, daps me up. You know, we talk football for a little bit. You know, we've developed a little bit of a relationship, but he always owes me $1. He's cheap, just like you. I could see where you learned it from.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, it was so cool that KC used to invite me. Man, I forget the name of the restaurant. It's on 595 at University. But after the games, he would be like, hey, young blood, because he has a deep voice and he was Kevin Carter. Hey, we're
Channing's
going over
like, anything you say, Mr. Carter, I'll do whatever you want.
And, you hit it on the head, Gil. He was like, hey, we're going over here. If you want to come, my mom was there, my sisters, people were, my family moved to South Florida when I played. And he'd be like, if y'all want to come over here, man, I got the back room. And I would show up every week. And I'd go play pool against him. He'd beat me. He'd steal $300-400 from me. But the $400 that he took from me was worth hanging out with Kevin Carter. So I was like, yeah, well, I'll lose this pool game, but at least I get to hang out with Kevin Carter.
What was this squeeze thing you guys were talking about at the end of that conversation?
Oh, when I took him to the shake spot?
Oh, the shake spot. Sorry, I think you said the squeeze spot or something. No, that's probably the same thing.
So Kevin's not a strip club guy. And I'm a strip club guy. I go, it's totally known on
Channing
this,
Crowder? You sure?
On this platform, I'm a strip club guy.
Huh.
So as we progressed in our relationship, I had a hookup at Tootsie's and the Little Diamonds and Cheetah. I had hookups everywhere because I used to go out all the time.
You say a hooker or a hookup? What did you say?
Hookup, not hookers. I don't hooker, Gil. So I took KC to Little Diamonds, which is G5 now, I think. And KC's not that guy. Like, KC's not a strip club guy. So he told the girl, he was like, the waitress came up. He was like, can I have 100 singles? And she was like, what? And she was my friend. I know all the waitresses. She was like, what? He's like, can I have 100 singles?
Usually you football players just throw $100 bills. You don't need the singles.
Yeah. And she said, what? And she looked at me. I was like, he won 101s. So like the verbiage was different. And she was like, you won 101s? And he was like, yes, 100 singles, please. And she gave KC 101s.
He seems real classy.
He was he was extremely uncomfortable in my realm. I'll say that.
Okay. By the way, let's get to a stock market report. It's sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. And our stock market report today, Channing, I think you could eat some steak tonight. The Dow is up 1.03%. The S&P 500 is up 0.21%. But the NASDAQ is down 0.22%. So that's the latest cooking there. This stock market report has been sponsored by Anajar and Levine. Accident Attorneys, call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. That was my biggest fear today, doing all these reads and having to play the role of point guard, because usually when I have Solana here and they have me hosting the show, I could just have him do all the things that are difficult for me. But I'm not a big stock market guy there, Channing Crowder.
Oh, I hit him in the head today, Gelb.
Oh, yeah? You got them good?
Yeah, steak tonight. Let me text my wife.
I got to be careful. Wall Street's 2 blocks down from me. If they know I know you, someone's going to take a knife to my back when I get out to go for my my walk after the show.
I got him today. Yes, sir.
Let's get to some headlines. They're sponsored by Doral Kia in Miami at a Domino's game. You always find your abuelito, and whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Have you been paying attention to this Kyle Shanahan story? So Chris Sims, who's Kyle Shanahan's like very close friend, revealed that Kyle Shanahan almost lost his eye in a car accident he was involved in on July 14th. Shanahan in the crash suffered a broken nose, 3 broken ribs, and a broken hand. He also needed over 40 stitches in his face and had a severe concussion after colliding with another SUV by his home in Northern California. That was from ESPN. The info about this accident didn't come out until July 25th, but the accident occurred on July 14th. I don't know. Maybe it's people are just weird in the media, and I get it. He's a public figure. He's a head coach. Like, the guys involved in an accident, it clearly was serious. If reporters were told to hold off on it and they didn't run with it until the team said something, like, that's not a big deal to me. But a lot of people are making a big stink out of this. Like, I have a human element to this in some regard, and it's not just, oh, like, we got to talk everything salacious and we got to do everything about all this stuff. There's a human element to it. If they wanted to keep this under wraps for a week, well, as we find out if he's going to be okay, I had no issue with that whatsoever.
Yo, but did you say a human element? That's not where the world is.
That's where I am. I have a heart.
I know you, and I know that's where you are, but humans, it's the humanity of it, the privacy of it, whatever it is when kids and families get involved. It's not that. When you're a public figure, people are going to question everything that you're doing, everything. And now I've even seen it. I saw it recently. You texted earlier where now it's like, oh, was he drunk and all that? They're trying to find a negative spin to this.
Well, he did speak today to David Lombardi, who covers the 49ers for a long time. And he did say that Kyle Shanahan, when he spoke to him, took fault for the car accident on Alma Street near downtown Palo Alto, which is a 4-lane way without a median, only a double yellow line. Shanahan said, I was driving, I was going 20 miles per hour. I was not on my phone, but I dropped my phone and it was stuck in my seat. I took my eyes off the road looking for my phone and my car veered into someone. If one of those roads where there's no forgiveness, it's one of those roads where I'll teach my kids you don't drive in the left lane for no reason. You're only allowed a foot. When I hit her, I'll never forget how violent the impact was. So Shanahan is taking accountability. He got in an accident. He claims he was grabbing his phone. Who knows if he was texting or if he was grabbing his phone. I like to question a lot of things. I'm going to kind of take him for what his word is worth. But it just still doesn't sit right with me. And things could go wrong behind the wheel, obviously. And I get that he's a public figure. But people freaking out. I just don't have it in me to get on a show. And I could yell and bitch and complain with the best of them. And just bitch and complain that we didn't find this news out like 10 days ago when it happened. The guy got in a horrible accident. He got injured. Thankfully, everyone, it looks like, is going to be okay from what I read. And it's like the fact that we found out 2 days ago compared to a week and a half ago, to me personally, I don't want to make Jimmy have to dump this, but I don't give a hit.
It's everybody tries to build what is it? It's a Saban quote, actually. Make a mountain out of a molehill. That's what people want to do. Make a mountain out of a molehill because it's a better story and now it's better tweets and all. I don't know what happened. I wasn't in Santa Paulo, whatever the hell he was. I am in Davie. I don't know what happened, Gelb. But if everybody's safe, that's what I'm worried about. And Kyle Shanahan, now I'm hearing that he can't coach for a while because he has to recover. Like, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about his car accident. I really am not.
Also in this article, it said he suffered a concussion and he's on the road to recovery, but he said the loud noises are still what really is getting to him. So, it's not necessarily the light and all that stuff. He's saying it's the loud noises, just, being around environments like that.
Man, loud noises still upset me.
Yeah, especially when you have a concussion. It's not a good thing. The Dolphins did report to training camp today. They're veterans. Jeff Hafley's first year as the head football coach on this team in the John Eric Sullivan era. The Marlins did score 3 in the 9th last night against the Phillies to end a 12-game losing streak, so Jimmy could go back to eating food. He was on a hunger strike during that losing streak. Griffin Conine was the big hero with the RBI single to give the Marlins their first win since July 9th. Daniel Jones fully cleared from an Achilles injury that he suffered last year. He revealed that to the Pat McAfee show. Colts camp does open up on Wednesday. Where are you at with Daniel Jones? Because he was balling last year before that injury.
Him and Steichen? We were up there in Indy. Steichen, he's a very smart dude. I really believe in Steichen.
What, for the pivot, you mean you were doing something there?
Yeah, we did some up there. We interviewed the safety that does all the dances. I'm not good with names.
Yes. The one that did the forward roll and the worm and all that stuff.
Yeah. But sitting down with Shane Steichen, like it's that point that you do when you're like, okay, he gets it. I believe in Shane Steichen. They brought in Daniel Jones and he was balling. I'm an Anthony Richardson guy, but for him to decide upon Daniel Jones and go out and get him, I think if Daniel Jones is healthy and Shane Steichen, I think that the Colts can really shake up the AFC if they bring it together. And they have that damn who is it? Is that Puppy Harrison? Who's that receiver they have?
Alec Pierce.
Yeah, the little white. Yeah, the little like. Well,
he's not little. He's
pieces,
6'4".
And then they have that damn running back that is Jonathan a monster. Taylor. Yeah, they have parts to it. And I think Steichen can figure out what to do with Daniel Jones and how to get that offense going. I think the Colts can shake up the AFC.
So a few things. Cam Bynum is the name. Cameron Bynum is the name of the safety or the corner that does all the crazy dances. Taylor's exceptional. Pierce is going to start the year on PUP. He's recovering from an injury. I just saw that. So we'll see when he does come back. But also, Jones, the one thing with him, he was playing lights out. And you saw him have that one good year with the Giants that got him the big contract. They extended him this offseason. He can't stay healthy. And you got to be available in this league. Yeah. And, yeah, they had a wonderful first half of the season. But in that division, I think the Texans are better. I do think the Jaguars will regress. They're going to be fighting, I think, for the second or third spot in that division because the Texans with that defense, if Stroud could just do what Sam Darnold did last year or just manage the game, manage the game, CJ Stroud, that's a team that's a heck of a team on paper with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and you got Stingley on the back end and that guy Azeez, who is an old school football player with all the pain that he likes to bring.
The Texans are a team that I'm very intrigued by, but CJ has to bounce back. But is Daniel Jones a Hall of Fame quarterback? No. Can Daniel Jones be a top 12 quarterback? Yes. And I really believe that. He has the talent of that. And in Steichen's scheme, I do believe he can thrive.
I know that you're very concerned about money. Tony Romo, we all know Solana's best friend. It was not a good day for him last week. On Thursday, he got an OWI. That's operating while intoxicated. I don't know the difference between an OWI, a DUI, and a DWI and all this classification. Tony Romo has $72 million left on his contract for CBS over 4 years. And the stock of Romo in the broadcasting world has dipped. Now he gets this OWI. I wonder with $72 million left on that contract, and I don't know the way that the contract is written, if CBS tries to get out of the Tony Romo business with now having this whole off the field incident.
I don't want to. Is it going to be worse at his job?
No, but you know this and I know this. When you do something off the field or away from the broadcast booth because he's no longer playing and you're owed $72 million for the next 4 years and people opinion on you as a broadcaster has gone in the wrong direction. Like when Romo started out, oh, Tony Romo this, oh, he predicts the plays, oh, he's the greatest thing in the world. And then a few years later, they're like, how many times can you hear a guy say, wait a second, Jim, oh, what? Wonderful, Jim. And it's just a lot of just humming and hawing from Tony Romo. I've always thought the guy was a good broadcaster. I never think he was John Madden, like some people would wax poetic on him. And you got J.J. Watt, who's like he could be a politician for him crying out loud. Everyone loves J.J. Watt with Iron Eagle. I know you have Jim Nantz as the number one guy, but I just wonder if that's a way that they use the infraction away from the broadcast booth with him getting arrested and looking absolutely tanked in that mugshot to maybe say, yeah, we don't want to pay you the remaining money on that contract.
Like you said, I don't know how it's structured. So the facts of it is something I'm not speaking on, but they can use it against him if they wanted to get out of it. If they wanted to get out of 70 million, they could use this as a springboard to say, hey, we don't, the trouble that you've caused, we can't associate with it. But if it's guaranteed money, it's guaranteed money, Gelb. And
if it's guaranteed money, they're going to make him work. But in NFL contracts, like conduct detrimental to the team and how it could offset the guarantees. I don't know how the broadcasting contract has worked for CBS, but I know in my contracts when I was at CBS Sports Radio, and albeit it wasn't owned by CBS, it was Odyssey, the company that we work for. There are character things, and there are vague words in that contract where if you do something stupid away from the microphone, that they could go and put the kibosh on your career.
But I would say, Gelb, it's even Lawrence Taylor's my favorite player of all time. He's the reason I wanted to play linebacker. Everybody knew Lawrence Taylor's troubles.
Yeah.
But when that ball was snapped on Sunday, he was about to be the best player on the field. I think Tony Romo is very good at his job. I don't know how you feel about Tony Romo, but
overrated.
I enjoy watching him. I enjoy listening to him. And so what are we where are we drawing the line of entertainment and morals? And I think that's what CBS is going to have to figure out.
Well, you look at it like Deshaun Watson, for example. He got paid $230 million fully guaranteed. It's not because they trusted him as a human being. It's because the Cleveland Browns were a desperate organization, and they thought this guy could be a great quarterback. They were wrong on it, but that's why he got the money. And Lawrence Taylor, we know he did some abhorrent things, but you go sack the quarterback as much as he did, people turn the eye the other way or allow things to happen. And that's the thing. It's like with Romo 4 years ago, I think they would let him continue. I'm not saying that they're going to fire him, but I just genuinely do not know because the opinion of a lot of people, you still like him, but you like everybody in media. I would like to, the first time you say I hate someone's guts, I'll actually, on the air, I'll be very proud of you. But a lot of people are out on Romo, and it makes me just wonder if his job's in jeopardy here.
Yeah. And that's what CBS is going to have to do is decide. And I don't think it has to do with the DWIOSAI or whatever I he has under the influence whatever it is. I think this decision is off ratings, and that's the decision. It's not off morals.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, though. Does anyone tune into? I'm talking about the NFL on Sunday to watch Tony Romo. I tune in to watch the teams. I don't tune in to watch the broadcasters. This isn't a talk show. This isn't NFL Live. This isn't what you were on with Showtime. That's a different show. You're tuning in for the personalities. Sunday, 425, they could put no one in the booth If you just give me my team who's playing whoever, I don't care who's in the booth. Like, there's guys I like. I love Kevin Harlan. I love Jim Nantz. I love Al Michaels. I love Ian Eagle. Like, they're guys that Troy Aikman, J.J. Watt. But if they say, oh, we're going to put, I don't know, Channing Crowder in the booth with Solana, okay, just give me the damn football.
Why did you use my name? Because now you hurt my feelings.
Well, I'm sorry. If they put you in the booth, I would love it.
But to your point, Gail, Jim Nantz, I know he's great. Harlan, I hear all the calls. I'm a married man with 3 kids. I cannot have the TV blaring on a Sunday afternoon. I have to watch it silent. I just want to watch football. I don't need you. I don't need Tony Romo to tell me they're going to go 3-by-1 and throw a backside post. I don't need it, and I just want to watch the game. So from me personally, I don't listen to them, even though I know who is very good at their job. But I think people like that approach, that they can have an insider telling them what's going on in the game and joking. And even like a Kevin Harlan, you brought up a great name.
He's the
where
best.
he can do personal side football. Ian Eagle, even damn Ian's son is good at what he does. Cooper Eagle, whatever the hell his name is.
That would be Noah Eagle.
Noah Eagle.
Like, you racist. You just assume the white guy is Cooper, you racist.
I understand good commentators, but I don't listen to commentators during my show. But for them to get paid $18 million a year, it has to be somebody or a lot of people that listen to these dudes, Gail. So
I just think it's because of how much money there is in football.
I would say you and me are the minority of who listens to the game and wants those commentators to talk to them and explain the game to them.
Well, I'll tell you this. CBS, you could chop that Romo salary, $4 million. 3 to Channing, 1 to me. But we'll be your A team for this upcoming season. All right?
Come on, Gelb. Go and call them. Email them. I'm down.
Yeah. They'll be like, Zach who? Gelb? No, thank you.
I'm down, Gelby.
Jalen Carter. He signed an extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a 4-year extension for $152 million, worth up to $160 million. 106 guaranteed. That out makes him the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history. That is from his agents in Drew and Jason Rosenhaus from Adam Schefter. Carter will now be under contract for the Eagles through the 2031 season.
100% deserved. Jalen Carter is a menace for offenses.
Yeah, the only thing is now he got his money. You just hope he's not a knucklehead, because like that's the only concern people have with Jalen Carter is him just not being able to control himself.
And that was the concern, I would say, with me and other people. There are 6 days out of the week that we have to worry about you. You're going to come on Sunday and ball. And Jalen Carter is going to ball on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whenever he plays. What are you going to do the other 6 days of the week? And that's on Nick Sirianni to figure out.
And you know who the biggest person is with that contract? Do you know?
Who?
Big Dom in Philly. Got to make sure that Jalen Carter keeps himself in check, all right? leave the gun, take the cannoli, all right? All righty, let's get to the weather. The weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Have a leaky roof? Take action now. Get your free estimate. Call 954-968-8155. Jimmy, is it still raining in South Florida right now?
It is cloudy, but it's not raining over in El Portal.
Gatsby's.
Huh?
Gatsby's. My man Barry, my homeboy, the ticket wizard. He texted me. It was Gatsby's that Kevin Carter used to rent out the whole back room after every Dolphin game.
Oh, Gatsby's, like the Great Gatsby?
It was a cool place. It was low light, and you could sneak off and have little rooms, and then you could rent the room out, play pool, delicious food. It's called Gatsby's. Appreciate it, Barry.
Gotcha. Did you have old money or new money at Gatsby's?
I had little money. That was my first contract.
That's what I remember from that book, The Great Gatsby. It was old money and new money. That's what they would always talk about.
Yeah. My first contract, my first year was $230,000.
You think, by the way, Solana, when he does the weather, he just like makes things up. Like he just goes like the high is 92 and the low is in the 70s. Because I feel like every day he just has the lows in the 70s, right?
100%. Hawk calls him out all the time. because he just makes up numbers and nobody checks it.
Well, now I'm looking at it in Miami. It's supposed to be the rest of the day, a high of 89, a low of 77. If you want, it looks like it's just going to be cloudy the rest of the day and gets down to about 79 degrees. Let me tell you what, Jim. Let me tell you what, Channing. At 10 p.m. Please, 17 million buckaroos. I could do his job. This guy's going to go score a touchdown. Let me tell you what, Jim. And then, I got to go to the bathroom. Solana, sit on the sidelines, you punk weasel.
You got a winkle.
All right. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelbin for Hawk. We're coming on back. We'll do a little AFC East go around when we come on back in a few minutes.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana Show.
Chicken salad is egg salad because eggs are liquid chicken.
Got
All righty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelb in for Hawk today. Hawk will be back tomorrow. Channing, let's go some rapid-fire questions inside the AFC East. I'll ask you the question. You give me a rapid-fire response. We know that the Buffalo Bills, they got rid of Sean McDermott. Joe Brady promoted from offensive coordinator to head coach. Do you believe in the partnership of Joe Brady and Josh Allen to get the Bills to a Super Bowl?
Ooh, now you jumped, Gabe, to a Super Bowl. I think Joe Brady, what he did with I really think Brian Daboll made Josh Allen when he, before he left and went to the Giants. Joe Brady, I think it was almost a panic move, so I would say no. I don't think they'll make it to a Super Bowl with Joe Brady. I think he needs some more maturing as a head coach to figure out. People think that like it's easy to be a head coach, it's easy to get there. It's not. There's a lot of guys. So I would say no to that answer, Gil.
Yeah, and you look at it from the AFC to the NFC. Like I usually do this. Give me your like top 3 AFC teams, top 3 NFC teams, and that's like how I usually say those are your Super Bowl contenders. This year, it's tough, man, because outside of the Rams and maybe the Eagles in the NFC, that third spot is open, and in the AFC, it's like you could say Patriots, Broncos, and Ravens, and then somebody else could just give me a completely 3 different teams as well. Like someone else could say, oh, maybe it's the Bills, and maybe it's the Chiefs. They come on back this year, and maybe the Chargers have a surprise season. So it's going to be fun inside the AFC and the NFC.
I'm glad you brought the Chargers, and early in the show you brought up the Houston Texans. I know defense isn't sexy, Gail, but the Houston Texans defense is amazing. CJ Stroud, what they put around him, the AFC is not as easy as people are putting it, but I do think the Broncos are going to be a problem this year in the AFC.
When we stay inside the AFC East, the Patriots won 14 games in the regular season last year. They were in the Super Bowl. How much regression will the Patriots have this year?
I don't think much regression, and I know I hate to do this because I know you're a Patriots fan.
Sorry, my headphones cut out. What did you say? I missed that.
I hate to do this. I know you're a Pats fan. They get A.J. Brown. Now Drake May has proven what he can do, and I hate the narrative that the Mike Vrabel adultery stuff is going to affect the team. That's silly. Nobody cares about that.
Do you know how many players probably are like, yeah, coach, you dog, like I've done the same thing. Like there's probably a lot of players that are like many that are faithful, and then there's some that are unfaithful. It's an NFL locker room.
Yeah, there's going to be fist bumps and no words spoken. And Vrabel and the team is going to know exactly what it means. Coach, we good, bro. Don't worry about you. I don't think the Vrabel thing is going to affect anything. I do believe that the AFC, I think that the Bills and the Patriots are guaranteed to go to the playoffs.
Okay, let's get to the Jets, right? One of the bottom feeders in the NFL, Garrett Wilson. They have Breece Hall. They drafted Omar Cooper. They drafted Kenyon Sadiq. They drafted the kid out of Texas Tech and David Bailey. Are the Jets an up-and-coming team in the NFL where maybe 2 or 3 years from now you're saying, wow, the Jets got something?
Very talented team, but who's throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson?
Right now it's Geno Smith. It's someone in college, I'll tell you that.
I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's you say 2 or 3 year process. I think a 3-year process. We'll see what happens with the Jets, but I think the Jets and Dolphins are both 28 to 32 teams in the NFL if you really want to put a number on it. I don't think anybody's going to compete. That's why I said the Bills, the Patriots, playoff teams. One are going to win the division, one's going to go wild card. Everybody else is going to go home early and go to Cancun.
We talked about the Oreos yesterday. It's like you look on the inside of the Oreo, it's nice for the Jets, but when your coach and quarterback are who they are right now, and Aaron Glenn and Geno Smith, it's like, all right, you're going to need to get a quarterback right, and that would ultimately define if Muji could have success. And I don't think their current coach, Aaron Glenn, is going to make it after this season. We talk about the bottom feeders. We get to the Miami Dolphins. You look around the league, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Browns, the Jets, the Titans, the Raiders. Who's the worst team in the NFL entering this season? Is it your Miami Dolphins, Channing Crowder?
Man,
I can't say them. I just spoke to the team. They're never going to invite me back if I say them.
No, I don't want Gail. I'm not. I'm being totally honest. And actually, talking to the team, they were like, "Yeah, man, we love what like you're an honest guy. Like you say exactly how you feel." With the Dolphins being $150 million in dead money on a $300 million salary cap, Gail, that's half the money. Half of your everything that other teams have, you have half of that to sign veterans to pay off. I think that Sully and Halfley can figure it out next year, but I cannot say, and this is not biased, I can't say that a Geno Smith-led Jets team is going to be better than the Dolphins.
I think the Jets with the talent around them will be better than the Dolphins slightly. It's like debating who's the tallest dwarf here. I think the three worst teams are the Cardinals, the Dolphins, and the Browns. The Cardinals at least have Jeremiah Love and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. The Browns, no Myles Garrett there, but they have Verse, so that defense is going to take a hit and a new coach coming. I think this conversation is really between the Dolphins and the Browns, and the Dolphins roster is just so bare that, yeah, they probably enter this season as the 32nd team in the NFL.
Yes, and it's going to be, and it's funny to say, it's going to be a boost to Halfley if he can go out there and win 5 or 6.
Yeah,
you know,
like Flores right away.
Yeah, I'm cooking with a, like you say, a bare cabinet, but I can still win 6. That's what I'm saying. We're working between 5 and 6 to see if he can do that.
You know what the Dolphins are right now? It's like when my girlfriend sends me photos of like $20,000 bags. And I'm like, you want me to buy you a $20,000 bag? I don't got the funds for that. Like, that's the Dolphins right now. Like, one day, sure. Like, one day, I get you everything you want. But right now, Jeff Halfley and Zach Gelb, we're 2 peas in a pod.
Hey, Gelb, go walk down Manhattan. They have little bags on the side of the road. I've seen the tables.
Yeah, the problem is my girlfriend knows between real and fake. That's why she loves me. I'm all natural, baby. All righty. Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Gelb for Mark Hochman. Channing going to give you some reads right here. Let's hope he's prepared on time because we got to run. We'll be back after these short messages with headlines, and you'll hear from Ty Dunn coming up at 5:20.
If your garage door is outdated, damaged, or not hurricane ready, you can't wait. You got to call Allied Doors. Just call Allied Doors now. Don't be that house. You know what I'm talking about. If it's you, if you don't know the neighbor I'm talking about, it might be you. I don't want to call you out, but you have a beautiful home, a beautiful family, well-kept yard, but your garage doors are garbage. Don't be that family. You got to call Allied Doors. Serving South Florida since 1966. That's 60 years of trusted family-owned service. They are the best. Huge in-stock inventory, same-day service, and custom impact-rated doors that are built to protect and upgrade your home. We are in a hurricane season. You have to protect your home. Why not upgrade it at the same time? And the LiftMaster openers, I'm telling you, we've looked into it recently. We have them in our personal home, the home I'm sitting in right now, and my wife's investment properties. LiftMaster, they have the side openers. They are equipped. They are fast. They're quiet. I'm telling you, you have to call Allied Doors today. 954-942-8550. That's 954-942-8550, or visit allied-doors.com. You mention this ad, and we are going to save you $300 off protecting and upgrading your home. You can't beat it. Built to protect and perform. You got to call Allied Doors today. 954-942-8550, or visit allied-doors.com.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana Show.
My metabolic age is 15.
Yeah, well, your metabolic IQ is 15 as well.
All righty, welcome back in. It is Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb here with you on this Tuesday. Ty Dunn is going to join us coming up at 5:20. He had a big piece on Jordan Brooks and the Miami Dolphins with the locker room from last year and how Jordan Brooks is going to take on more of a leadership role for this upcoming season with the Miami Dolphins. So looking forward to that conversation that we'll have for you and we'll air for you once again coming up at 5:20. Let's get to some headlines right now. Headlines are sponsored by Doral Kia. In Miami at a Domino's game, you always find your abuelito, and whenever you want a low price, you save with your Pricito. Save now with your Pricito at Doral Kia. Channing Crowder, do you ever get a pedicure?
No, I don't get a pedicure. I've had a pedicure, but I'm not a pedicure guy.
But you're not anti-pedicure. Like, you've got one before.
Yeah, my wife does the pedicures, and I will do the couples spa day. And so we get the massage, we get the pedicure, we get the manicure, but I really feel bad about people dealing with my feet, Gelb, because I know I don't upkeep my feet. So now the lady's down there and she has to deal with these feet. And I love people. I don't want to do that to the nice young woman.
So I go once or twice a year. It just depends on the year. And I got size 15 ham hocks, and you're right. I do feel bad for the people that have to maintenance my feet. But with that being said, here's our number one headline in the 5 o'clock hour. Dan Orlovsky is going after men that like to get pedicures. And I love Dano. I've never gotten a pedicure. I never will. I am completely against pedicures for dudes. You're a dude. You're not supposed to get pedicures. Nah, man. No. I'm so against this. This is a thing for me. Dude should not be getting pedicures. You emaciated Dan Orlovsky trying to tell people if they're manly or not. Like, he's not a macho man. I love Dan. He's been extremely benevolent to me, but this is the same Dan Orlovsky that hates cannolis and hate Reese's peanut butter cups. You know what, Dan? Be a man and eat some of that peanut butter. Be a man. Be a little Tony Soprano-esque and get a freaking cannoli, for crying out loud, Dan Orlovsky.
I'm a big fan of Dan. Dan and me sat down. We broke bread together. I love Dan, but Dan, like, don't talk bad about, maintenance. You have a little maintenance. I don't get an oil change every 30,000 miles on my feet, but if I get an oil change every 100,000 miles, don't treat me nasty for it. So yes, Dan, I disagree with you on this. And I will tell Dan next time I see him that he needs to change his whole stance on pedicures. It's self-love. I love self-love. I love love. So I can love myself.
I'm not trying to start a beef there at ESPN, but we definitely know who loves pedicures, Rex Ryan, and that guy is a man.
Yeah, Rex is a man, but he's a feet guy.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't get excited by feet either, Gelb.
All righty, let's get this.
I will maintenance my feet, but feet don't make me happy.
Hey, Jimmy, you ever get a pedicure?
No.
Yeah, I kind of expected Jimmy not
but
to.
But I'm not against it.
Yeah, it's
Are you less of a man, Jimmy, if you get a pedicure?
No.
All right, there's the headline. Jimmy effing hates Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, I do. No, I'm kidding.
I don't get the take of that where, like, what it's almost nebulous. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
All they do is pick at your toenails with their little pick, and then they put little polish on there and they rub your feet. Like, who cares? Like, let's enjoy your afternoon and then go eat a cheesesteak.
Yeah, do something that real men do. Eat cheesesteak. Meat, cheese.
Yeah.
Dolphins opened up training camp today. Veterans did report. The Marlins did score 3 in the 9th to end a 12-game losing streak, so Jimmy could end his hunger strike. Solana as well, because the Marlins did win a game. Griffin Conine, who is absolutely shredded, by the way. I Googled Griffin Conine today while preparing for this show. Obviously know who he is and what he's done. But the first picture that comes up, he's got like a 14-pack. It's not just a 6-pack. That guy is absolutely ripped. Well, he had an RBI single that gave the Marlins their first win since July 9th. So, Jimmy, you could have a cheesesteak after the show and get a pedicure because now you can finally eat since the Marlins won a game last night.
Hell yeah.
Man, Conine, Stowers, Otto Lopez, Xavier Edwards. We got some lookers on the team now.
Yeah, they may not win a game, though, for another 13 or 14 days.
I didn't say nothing about the score. I was talking about lookers.
Netflix is hiring Panthers Hall of Fame linebacker Luke Kuechly to be its #1 game analyst, pairing him with Channing's favorite broadcaster, Connor, or should I say Noah Eagle. That is per Andrew Marchand. So, Channing, that's another broadcasting job that you could have got that they screwed you out of.
Listen, I can't hate. I've sat and talked to Luke numerous times, can't even count. Luke is a smart human being. He articulates well. Like me and Luke were at a who's the guy that just got divorced? The country singer.
I have no clue.
The fat country
Jelly
singer.
Jelly Roll.
So me and Luke were at a Jelly Roll concert.
Well, he's no longer fat. I think that's why he got divorced. He lost some weight, and now he's like, oh, people actually want to touch that Pisha deal.
He's running them streets now. I talked to Luke at a Jelly Roll concert. No exaggeration, an hour and a half, and I enjoyed every second of it. Man, I think Luke will be great at this job. No lie. I'm gonna say I'm cheering for him, but I know that he can do great things in the broadcasting business.
I was going to say, if you were a TV executive, it seems like you would have a crush on Luke Kuechly. That's what it sounds like.
And we're talking about lookers. He's a looker. He's a good looking man, a good looking guy. I do like, he was a hell of a linebacker, but he also is a good dude. I talked to him for a long time.
Baker Mayfield set this deadline with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's in the final year of his contract. He said, by training camp, I want a new contract. He's making $33.3 million a year. The deadline is tomorrow because the Buccaneers, that's when they report to training camp, and so far, no deal. And there's not much optimism that Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are going to agree to a contract extension. So they could go the franchise tag route next year, or they could maybe move that deadline or just negotiate after the season.
Yeah. It can work, and then Vita Vea wants to leave. You know I'm a Bucs fan, so I want Baker and I want Vita.
Just saying. Channing supported the Dolphins all those years. They stink. Now he's a Bucs fan, and it seems like everyone's trying to run off the ship.
Gail, don't do that. I've been a Bucs fan my whole life. My dad played for the Bucs. He got arrested playing for the Bucs. Like, let's leave him alone. I'm a Bucs fan.
That's a rite of passage for the Crowder family. Oh, you get arrested? Okay. Not you're really a Crowder. Aaron Rodgers. He spoke to reporters today. He says he thought last year would be his final season, but then his wife let him go one more year after Pittsburgh Steelers did hire Mike McCarthy, his former coach. We saw those photos of Rodgers with his family. The wife wasn't in it. Does anyone know if this wife actually exists? Like, that's something that I would like to know if she actually exists, because I've never seen a photo of her.
He's a weird dude.
That's an understatement.
I like weird people, but I don't know what old Aaron has going.
That's Channing saying, I'm a weird dude. I don't like weird white dudes. That's what Channing is saying.
Not. He's one of the top 5 arms I've ever seen in my life throw a football. But off the field, I don't know what Aaron has going on.
Yeah, there's some bizarre stuff there. Have any appetite to see Conor McGregor again in an octagon?
I heard he said he got another fight next year.
Yeah, well, he's under contract with the UFC, but he wants one last dance, and it's International Fight Week in 2027. He wants to go back up against Max Holloway. I said McGregor was done in 2021 when he lost 3 out of 4 fights, and we know the catastrophic injury that he had, but he was cooked then. Finally did make his return a few weeks ago, and that ACL went real quick. Whatever money there is that I have, I will do what I did for the last fight, and I will bet it on whoever he is fighting, because Conor McGregor is washed.
But can he generate attention still?
Yes, absolutely.
That's all it's about.
A lot of suckers in this world. You know what? There's one person that has better knees, that you have better knees than. You have better knees than Conor McGregor.
But Gal, if he can sell tickets, it's like the Paul brothers.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think Jake Paul, or is it? No, it's Jake Paul is going to fight Conor McGregor, and then it's going to be Logan Paul up against Tom Brady. But Jake Paul and Conor McGregor would be in a boxing ring, and then Logan Paul and Tom Brady would be at WWE. Is what a lot of people speculate.
If Tom Brady says he's going to fight in a boxing match, they're going to sell. They're going to make $100 million, and they're going to split it, and they're going to be happy.
Yeah, well, Brady would be WWE. Like, Brady's not going to go box. I don't think he would.
No. But I think Gronk is Brady's henchman.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's genius.
that is a tag team that anybody could see. The weather report is brought to you by Tornado Roofing and Contracting. Protect your home before the next storm. Get your free roof and window estimate. Call 954-968-8155. Should I do this like Solana does? It may be like 90 degrees. That's the high. It may be a low of 77. It could rain. Maybe it won't. There could be a tornado. Maybe there won't be. But the actual weather report is it's cloudy. Wind gusts are at 17 miles per hour in South Florida. High of 88 was the high today, and the low will be 77 going into the later hours of the evening.
Just to break it to you, Gail, we don't have tornadoes in Florida.
Oh, hurricanes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was just spewing nonsense like Solana.
But we see it coming. The hurricanes you can see for a week and a half coming from Africa.
Yeah, you could see the hurricanes. The U, baby. Not like those stinking Gators this year. You and Kevin Carter with that fake news hour here. Oh, my God. The SEC is better than the Big Ten and the Gators this, the Gators that. Oh, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Let's go Summerall.
Ty Dunn. I love Summerall. Ty Dunn, dear friend. Ty Dunn will join us on the other side. It's Hochman, Crowder, and Solana. Zach Gelb in for Hawk.
You're listening to the Hoch, Crowder, and Solana Show.
I know one guy on France, Mbappe.
Got what you